on 2 last week, and then we're live.
We're here.
Tricks you now, dude.
Doesn't let me, dude.
I know, dude. You're delayed. I'm gonna click end stream.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm not ready. I'm gonna hit end stream right now.
Ah. What's going on, everybody? Cali Death Podcast back once again, episode 196. I am your host, Anthony Trapney. As always, got some resident homies with me, and I got the full bunch with me. Casey Howard, Joseph K, Joel Horner. What up, dudes?
What's up?
And tonight we're stretching 12 and a half hours ahead in time to speak with our guys in India, Vinette and Jay from, is it Gaijin? Is that,
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm nailing it with the pronunciations right now, guys. Dude, thank you so much for being here. What's that?
100 culture points to you.
Thanks.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
It's funny because it's not even Indian.
Yeah. If you knew my history on pronunciations on the show, that's a win for sure.
About 200 episodes, he's gonna start nailing them like in the 90s, probably 90%.
Yeah, guys, thank you so much for waking up on your Friday morning and being with us. It's super cool to not only talk to you guys because of the music that you play. Joseph said it in a Cali Death chat earlier this week, and I was listening to it in the last couple of days, and it's actually like super impressive stuff, dude. I really enjoyed it. It was refreshing to listen to and to know that you guys are in India playing this type of music. It was just a treat for me to experience your music, guys. So thank you.
Appreciate it.
It's genuinely an honor to be here. I was like, it's almost like, you know, we are on call with a big part of technicaldeathmetal.org. We've ripped off all of the bands, right? We've had all of
well, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah, so big fans here and big fans of the podcast as well. So thank you for having us over. Yeah,
awesome. No doubt.
I think you've had all of our heroes on. I think I speak for Vineet as well. Yeah, yes. Every one of them. Dan Bongre, Ronja Zombek, Dennis Rondon. Wow, yes. All of them have been phenomenal. We've been following you guys for a long time.
Right on, dude.
And also, I have to give shout out to Severed Savior. Wow, my God, I've been listening to you guys since 2009. Of course, I saw that. What a band! Mike Gilbert, we're guitar players, so we geek out on that stuff. Mike Gilbert is one of my heroes, man. It's, you know, the term Gilbert, jazz metal gets thrown out a lot,
dude.
But not that I know anything about jazz. let me be honest, but like incredible, just a perfect fusion of so many styles, and it's just beautiful.
I'm always confident in saying that Mike Gilbert is the greatest guitar player that I know personally. I've never sat and watched some. I've been so lucky to have been surrounded with all these musicians that are masters at their instrument. But there's something about sitting and watching Gilbert play in person that it's above all of it for me. I could watch that guy for all day. If he said I'm going to do an all day thing, I would like to be front row for it the whole time, dude. I'll wear a diaper. I won't even get up.
Awesome. Sure, well, stoked to have you guys on, man. But before we get into that, we should do some quick plugs here.
Some stuff real quick. Yeah.
So I got a special one for you guys here.
Right, we got first.
We got Ben himself, the owner of Generator Rehearsal Studios. He's gonna come on and say what up about his studio here, Dave. Am I gonna be able to see?
We were joking. Benerator Rehearsal Studios.
Benerator.
What up, Benerator?
What's up, guys? Hell yeah.
That's
dude.
funny. Someone down here a long time ago actually really did nickname me that.
Nice.
Benerator.
I mean, it's kind of it's low hanging fruit technically if you really
I know.
think about it.
Pretty easy.
But dude, yeah, I'm glad that we've seen you pre-pod maybe once or twice, and
Yeah.
you got
yeah.
out. But
Yeah.
I was just saying, Ben, give us a little pitch on your business, dude. We've been pitching it for weeks on end, so let's hear
Totally.
it.
I appreciate that, guys. Yeah, so it's best rehearsal studio in Oceanside here. I got a couple rooms for bands to rent, and I got everything there, drums and PA and amps and everything. So I make it pretty easy to just show up and do your thing. You know, I got a website where you can book and pay for your time there. It's generatorrehearsalstudios.com.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's pretty hands off for me. I gotta operate the whole thing from my phone and everything. But yeah, it's pretty rad.
Do you have
got
like
all-
a property manager, like a physical person at the place while during the day
Yeah.
or whatever?
Not really. It's pretty hands off for me.
Mhm.
I go in there on the weekends and do some work in there. But I do have a guy that helps me out there, but he's not there like full time. So
Mhm.
but yeah, it's pretty convenient for me.
What's like I've never asked Casey this, but is it a 24-hour thing, or is there a certain cutoff? And what's your access if you wanted to rehearse there?
Technically I'm open 24 hours, yeah, but like the latest anyone ever goes is midnight. So it's like midnight's usually the cutoff. But if someone wants to jam later than that, that's okay too, you know.
Mhm.
So
So you'll have as a renter there, you'll have access to it if you wanted to jam out at 3 a.m. awake like owls.
technically, yeah. But
Well, technically, yeah, but probably not.
but
We don't do that, but yes.
I don't encourage it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not usually a good business model for
Yeah.
places with.
And the only
making
reason
a lot
why
of
I
money.
asked is just comparing it to places that I was rehearsing with. Speaking of Severed, well, I was actually just with Carnivores then, but we had a 24-hour place, and shit does get kind of wild at a 24-hour access
it does.
place, dude.
I think
Yeah.
anything that's happening at 3 a.m.
It's-
I might not
Obviously,
want in
can't
my
be good.
studio, you know.
Yeah,
I got
there's
you,
some
dude.
other extras, fucking curriculars going on. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Anthony's like, yeah, dude, are you guys open 24 hours? Can you like sleep there?
Yeah.
Which there was dudes sleeping at that place that I'm talking about right now.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. That's what happens when you start doing that.
How
Yeah.
long you guys been open, Ben?
Well, I opened like right dead in the middle of COVID. So like 2020. And I took a loss there for sure, but as things started getting moving, it really picked up at the studio, and now it's just like really like the biggest thing is word of mouth, you know. And
Right.
I got bands in there most every night, and all sorts of bands too. So
That's
like
rad.
dad rock bands, kid punk rock bands. Like Casey was saying earlier, I got a couple death metal bands in there even. So
Mhm.
that band Paroxysmal's been in there a few times,
Nice.
and I think you guys know them. So
to
Yeah,
be a place ready for the musicians that were cooped up during COVID and had all these ideas and doing their home stuff, and then finally wanting to get together and play the music for real.
that's really a good point that you make, because that's exactly what happened. Like people were just itching to get out and jam, you know. So like once things came back, it really picked up at the studio for sure.
Well, I'm glad that you were able to stick it out during the pandemic and be afloat enough for that to happen, you know.
Appreciate that. Yeah, I moved back with my mom and everything, but for a little bit. But yeah, we're back.
Open
We're back.
open during a closure, dude. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
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 That's and you kept it going. That's awesome, dude.
Totally. Thank you. Yeah. Thanks.
But yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, guys, if you're in the Oceanside area and you're looking for a place that's run by a chill dude that totally is in it for the bands, this is the place to go. Generator Rehearsal Studios.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
No doubt,
Fuck
dude.
yeah, dude.
Big fucking banner right there.
And
Yeah.
greetings from I missed your name there from India. What's your name?
That's
Jay
Vinny.
and Vinny.
Vinit. Greetings from California, man.
And Jay
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Greetings, my friend.
Jay, yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, and Jay too. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Right
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
All right.
And,
well, thanks for
and-
coming on, Ben.
Good
Yeah,
luck to your
thank you,
studio,
guys.
man.
Oh yeah, dude.
Joseph, good to see you, dude.
Yeah, you too, man. Anytime you
yeah.
want, come back up here, dude.
I'm gonna take you up on that for sure.
Okay, cool.
Did you got wait, before you get up, hurry up, Ben. Now that I remember, did you guys kick it while during Joel's wedding time? Is that what happened?
Yeah. So Joel, I wasn't at the event, but
Sorry.
Joseph and Casey went to. I was doing something up near Santa Cruz, and so Casey came up with me because I was going up there anyway, and we hung out at Joseph's house, and
Legendary hangs, dude.
yeah, it was super fun, and
Nice, dude.
and then I went and did my thing, and then Casey and Joseph went to Joel's thing.
Well, I hope that we get to cross physical paths as well soon, dude.
For sure, yeah, I'm sure we will.
Hell yeah,
Awesome.
Ben.
All
Rock
right,
on,
guys.
dude.
Thank you.
Generator
All right,
Rehearsal
man.
Studios.
All right.
Hell
back
yeah,
to
dude. Generator.
Gaijin time.
All right, dude. Yeah, I'm gonna take one more hit off the.
I love that.
He was all nervous. He was all
Well,
nervous.
He didn't seem like it, so he's all good.
I know, dude. It's funny.
All right.
In the top middle.
Can I do my plug and then we should get on with this interview because it's been a long
first
time already.
let Casey plug his nephew's birthday.
Oh
and
yeah,
his-
it's my nephew's 5-year-old birthday. Yeah, girl.
not your
Yeah.
average
Happy
uncle, not
birthday.
your average uncle.
I wore it tonight. Celebrate Jake. He's a badass. Yeah. Later, dude.
Hell yeah.
Man.
Later,
Peace
Ben.
out, man.
Yeah, I don't know why. I'm just very proud of my nephew. You know, he's just a cool kid.
Being
He's
an
the
uncle's
coolest-
rad, dude.
Coolest 5-year-old in the world, dude.
That's uncle.
Hell yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah. I was-
Have you started drum lessons yet?
Nah, dude, but he should.
Yeah, you should. You're the cool uncle. You should get him started on that.
That's a good idea, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah. We're all about indoctrination, man, as metalheads.
Indoctrination.
Yeah,
Get them while
start-
they're young. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it.
break out the pots
Absolutely.
and the pans, dude, and just get the kitchen utensils. That's how I started
Just
beating on
sticks.
things, dude.
Yeah. Bang the sticks.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
can I now go?
Go for it, dude.
All right, I'm gonna pull this flyer up. So, surprise to Violently Vomit fans, Disgorge fans, SoCal Brutal Death fans. TVV is playing October 6th at Supply and Demand. This is a venue that's near and dear to my heart. It's in Long Beach, California. So this is a Sunday night show. We're playing with oh shit, who are those bands? I forgot. Mortal Wound. It's not like I have a lot of context clues here.
You can't. I'm sorry, but nowadays you can't rely on a logo anymore.
Yeah.
All right, this is straight off the dome. It's Mortal Wound,
Epi
Epicarcery.
something.
It's Epicarcery and
Okay.
Tomb Dweller. Yeah, so I think these are kind of like new old school bands or whatever that new wave of old school death metal.
OSDM.
This is OSDM. And so it'll be a fun show. And this is 4 days before we go down and play Mexico. So
Nice,
kind of like
dude.
a local
Oh, yeah.
local chance to warm up for that fest. So just
Sick.
really, it's my first time back to Southern California since I moved up to Santa Cruz. So would love to see all the Cali Death audience members that are counted as friends. And it's a great venue. It's a really fun spot.
Are you in SoCal right now?
I'm in Santa Cruz, dude.
He's down the street from
the
you.
background looks different. The background looks different. Don't give me shit. Jesus.
You got to come play my guitars, dude. Come over.
Oh dang, dude.
Yeah.
No,
So-
I'm gonna be
well,
I'm
let's
gonna
do
be in
a question.
Anaheim in a couple weeks or next week.
Oh, sick, dude. Well, why don't we hang out?
I don't know where that is because supposedly
You're
like
45 minutes north.
I'm just going to see Lepros play, and then I'm gonna go see the Chiefs and Chargers play on Sunday.
Where's my ticket, bro?
I mean, they're like $400 each if you want.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
It was
Only guitar. Yeah, but Joseph, real quick, how do you practice the TVV stuff without Diego? Because it's very like organic is the word.
I just play along to the playlist,
to the album tracks?
Spotify playlist. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you play along to album tracks to like yeah. That makes sense. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. That's my question. Thank you.
Works for me. Yep.
Yep.
All right, let's get back to Gaijin.
Yeah, dude. Let's get some Gaijin plugs. Where do you guys want people to go? Social media. You guys got a website, all that kind of stuff. Bandcamp, anywhere you want people to buy things. Plug it all now.
Yeah, we do. The same old listening platforms, and we have a Bandcamp. I think it's gaijindeath.bandcamp.com. Yeah, that's the one.
Nice.
And just go on Spotify, just have a listen.
Right.
Listen to music. That's all.
Yeah.
Just for the
listen to
listeners.
it.
Yeah.
For the listeners, I want to make sure that we get the spelling right for the listeners. It's Gaijin. Gaijin. So that's how you go. Just type them into Spotify and get your groove on.
Get your groove on. Lots of groove in that.
Indeed.
Yeah, it's fucking sick.
Lots of dissonant groove.
Yeah.
So tell us, just as a start off, like what's the new record, Children of Dust? Just tell us a little bit about this album.
Jay, want to go?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we actually wrote it as a couple of guitar players. So we wrote like a train. We wrote it in one way. It was a very linear writing process. And we knew we wanted to do a tech death record. I mean, that's what we love to do. So, we just wrote the album, and we didn't leave any space for vocals because we are a bunch of guitar players, and we realized that later, and we are fine with it. We're honestly pretty okay with it. And like the concept was added on after that, after the album was actually written.
Yeah.
And it's about inevitability. It's a pretty, it's a trope that has been explored before, but it's okay, I mean, it's about the inevitability of death, and not to view it as something negative and something awful. It just is what it is. And
that's I'm gonna take it away just a second because I've listened to a few people talk about the concept of death in India, and it's much different than it is over here. Explain a little bit how you guys look at death versus us, because I mean, we can't even go to a open casket funeral without having major anxiety, and that it's not the same for you guys. So I know I'm taking away from the music immediately, but you just bringing that up and that being the concept of the album, that I'd like to hear it from you guys. What is how do you look at death in your culture?
I mean, in Indian culture, I mean, by Indian, I would say Hindu to start off with because that's the majority. But it wouldn't summarize Indian culture as a whole because we're very multicultural as such. We have all kinds of religions and all. But sticking to that, like we have a concept of rebirth. It's not something that we thought of during the album. But unlike a few African cultures, we also grieve in our funerals. I mean, it's not we don't really look at the rebirth concept then. It is a very negative connotation, obviously, because you're losing a loved one and so on and so forth. But that, I mean, I don't know how that actually ties into what we wrote. But when it comes to death, it is not viewed in a very different way from you guys in that sense.
Okay.
But but philosophically there is a concept of rebirth, and so therefore we have a slightly different take on it.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that sorry, go ahead.
So just to add to what Jay was saying, so death typically it's essentially the way people feel about it for the vast majority of people would fundamentally be the same, but it's just the rites and rituals and everything else, which because a lot of majority Hindus don't bury their dead, they burn them, right? So it's essentially a funeral pyre. It's called a chitta in Hindi, and that has its own connotations, because at the end of the day, you see your loved one actually, just break down into like literally dust and ashes, right? So somewhere that kind of like, while it wasn't a part of it, so when Jay sent that the concept out, which was obviously a little retrofitted to the work that we did, because we didn't have any vocals, so we had to work around something in that scene fit. But I guess somewhere that kind of gets captured in its own way. At least that's my interpretation of it.
Yeah,
definitely.
And also to be an instrumental band and have a concept tied to the album, it's definitely open for interpretation.
Yeah,
you can find in anything really, you could find your own interpretation, but I think that an instrumental album and the thoughts and feelings that happen while you're listening to it can be sculpted for yourself very easily, because there isn't any lyrical concept that you're following. You're making the story kind of yourself,
Yeah.
It's super cool.
So
guys.
I mean, not only the artwork, but the way I kind of tied it together was through the song titles, and also it fit the mood of the album. Because if you notice, the first two songs are very uplifting and positive and kind of brimming with hope, like at least the first one, and then it kind of goes down, and it gets a little darker and darker. So the first song, say like Clay-born, is clay is malleable, and everybody's born like that. You're just a sponge, and you're full of hope, and you have you view things very positively, and you look forward to the future, and all of that. And then comes inevitable decay, and unplanned obsolescence is like a play on words, which is planned obsolescence is a manufacturing term. Is when they create tech, they have a shelf life in mind, and after a point it breaks down. Like you buy a mouse, you buy a keyboard, a computer, or whatever. And unplanned is kind of it's not really a planned thing that we all eventually do break down, and there's no designer as such, as I would want to hint there. And eventually, it's children of dust. We all turn to like any what do you call the Brian Cox and Neil deGrasse Tyson? What do you call them? Those guys will tell you we are made of stardust. So it's a play on words there as well. Yeah.
Right.
Astrophysicists, that's the word.
Yeah. Oh, I love it, dude. This is cool.
It's super cool. It's like it's a story of life and death, but it's also showing the duality of what happens in between.
Yeah. In fact, funny that like Jay also brought up the term hope, right? Like starting from being hopeful to just like like hope not existing. And in fact, I remember when we started writing it, and at that time we had hopes that we'll have vocals in it, and we'll figure out like a nice a concept story. And that's the reason why we wrote the instrumental in this format. And we were toying around with this idea of how hope itself is a paradox, right? And that's something that I remember Jay and I used to talk about at that time. And it's almost like this cycle where you just keep on circling around. You're hopeful, and hopelessness leads to hope, leads to hopelessness, leads to hope, right? And that somewhere I think was baked into it. It's funny that you brought it up, and it just brought back this memory.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Like Anthony knows, it's like the yin and the yang, dude.
Yeah, dude. Duality.
Yeah.
They can't be one without the other.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know which one was which.
I feel like that's like a thing with like things get kind of candy coated, like in our culture of like this like, oh, it's either good or evil, and it's like either all good or all evil, you know what I mean, like that kind of thing. And it's like, as opposed to like when us like Western, you know, brought up on the Western Christian culture and all that kind of stuff, like we look at Eastern cultures, whether it's like Asian from East Asia or from different cultures, or of course Hindu or like Buddhism or all the different cultures, like we're like, oh, whoa, they see both sides like in a duality in a different way, whereas like us, it's like we separate it like evil or good. They're
like,
all
good and bad is not the
you know?
word that you would use.
It's just less
in the comparison of two sides elsewhere of here, basically. The bad is good, but the good is bad, and those words don't work. Then you got to have different words for it.
It's like the battle between good and evil, but it's like, but that's life is both, like, you know,
it is
like there's like animals that like do stuff in nature that we're like, that's crazy, like that's evil or whatever, but it's like, it's just nature.
It's like a female, like a mother bear eating her cub after it dies.
Exactly.
Like, whoa, that's fucking crazy. That's evil.
Our culture our culture, even with metal or a lot of the things in sports, metal, whatever you want to talk about, kind of promotes like being like, oh, you like that? Well, that's bad.
One side against the other.
It's like not like, which I've always tried to be like, well, I respect parts of that, like rather than just be like, that sucks. I'm not, it's like good, bad. It's like kind of what Casey was saying. It's like it's not only with politics, religion, it's with music with us. When we were growing up, it was like, oh, you like the clean singing band? Well, that's bad, and now your opinion now doesn't matter. It's like it'd be like you kind of treat people like that, and it's kind of like, it's interesting how humans kind of glom onto these teams or these sides, and it's just kind of like,
excuse me for just one second.
You are good, Jay. It's just like it's in everything though. It's not just like, a lot of people nowadays will say politics, but it's also with music back when we were younger, and a lot of people doing music nowadays too. And it's with opinions on culture. It's like so many different things that like we're just like, oh, that's good or bad. Like people's ignorance will just be like, well, I don't understand it, so it's not good, it's bad. It's like I'm not willing to understand, so I don't like it. It's kind of what I see a lot. But I just feel like a lot in humans, I see that.
Yeah. Oh, we gotta have a flag to fly.
Yeah.
You gotta. There's a symbol that you have to. There's a symbol that we have to put ourselves behind. Find a big group of people that we say, you know what, we want to be part of that big group.
Yeah, 100%.
And then we waving the flag.
As death metal people are like, we're gonna go against the group, dude, and we're gonna I don't know, like when we were younger.
I'm in the flag of no clean singing. What up, dude?
So it's so interesting.
Not anymore, but I'm not actually at all. But I'm just saying that's the guy in that situation. That would be the flag that he would fly.
Well, I think it's very interesting to all people, but coming from our angle from California, we are very interested in like the difference of how cultures interact. And the one time Joel and I went to Europe with Decrepit and those guys and Cryptopsy and all that and Unmerciful, like to me that was a very eye-opening experience, being in like Slovakia and countries just like, oh wow, like it wasn't culture shock, but it was like very, I found it just awesome. Like it was very like enlightening is the word. And so I want to like I was excited about this episode. Like I heard your music, you guys reached out to us, and a couple months ago I was sending the guys this link, and I know that everyone's busy, but I was like, dude, I was like, I put on your music and I was just like, this is so cool. Like I love your music, and of course I know about the Connie, the drummer from Anata and all that, and I was like, what? That I'm a huge fan of Anata for a long time. I sent it to my buddy David, who's a good friend of ours from Odious Mortem, our old, and he loves your music, and so we were like listening to it, and he's into it and stuff. Anyways, and so I think it would behoove us to get to the backstories. I'll let Anthony take over on that, but
Yeah,
I really would love to hear
get to that no matter what.
Yeah,
you know we were.
Yeah, I'm just saying at this point, I think maybe I don't know. We'll take it from here, but I just
yeah,
I'm very interested to see how you guys got into metal and like respecting like just where you're from. It's so interesting and like the different cultural stuff and like just naturally from different parts of the world.
Before coming across metal, dude.
Yeah,
we like
music. Yeah, get into music. Yeah. So Anthony, you take over.
Art, music, whatever, dude. Think of an early memory of you, the creative side of your brain clicking on whatever made that happen. But also we like to hear about music that was being played in the house when you were a kid, you know, and actually we love Shock T, me and Joel and JC too.
Okay,
and that's South Indian based. So I just want to hear about traditional Indian music too, and how you bridged yourself to metal from that. Plus, there's so many questions along the way. So, whoever wants to start off,
question in a big long run on questions. There's like 17 questions in this big.
I gotta save it.
It's a vast subject, definitely. Yeah. You want me to go ahead? Yeah,
go for it.
Well, when I was a kid, there was music in the house all the time. My dad loved music, absolutely loved music. And he listened to Indian classical as well as there was a lot of Queen. He loved Queen.
Nice.
And he didn't have any Jimi Hendrix at the time, but Jimi Hendrix, Joe Cocker, Queen, Deep Purple, I think. That was his jam, you know. Metal kind of came from there. Even though he didn't have as many cassettes back in the day, but he did have Queen. Queen was a staple in my house.
So when you say Indian classical, though, like what is that? What is it? Just classical orchestral music that you're talking about, or
no? In particular, he loved this guy called Jagjit Singh. He was a fan for like almost 40 years of this guy, and he was a ghazal singer. And that is a part of Indian classical. It's like a subgenre. Like, let's say tech death is one, and if I talk about the traditional Indian classical, that would be say rock. So it's miles apart, but it's under the same umbrella, kind of.
Right.
So and he's all about the vocals and about composition and like brooding vocals, like wonderful voice and. Like I used to see my dad tripping out on music, you know, and I could totally relate. I think I remember listening to Bonnie M when I was nothing years old, and Michael Jackson, and then came Queen, and then few years later, I think I was about 8, and I heard Metallica and Nirvana. Well, I can discard Nirvana for now, but Metallica is where I found my sweet spot. And both my parents were working, so I used to go to a creche with other kids. And there was this dude over there who was much older than me. And he had this record collection. I can actually see it in front of my eyes still now. He had Slash's Snake Pit, he had Guns N' Roses, he had Nirvana, Metallica, the staple heavy metal thing, you know?
Right.
And he was very generous in the sense that he would allow me to borrow his cassettes. And that's how I got hooked. I got hooked onto Metallica, the Black Album. That was my gateway into metal.
So I got a question for you guys. So I'm listening to right now. I just typed in Indian classical, and I'm listening to probably pronounced Raga Bihag, Bihag. I don't know, but I'm listening to it right now, and it's very it's like also because we have our classical music that's like with these certain specific rules and stuff like that, and obviously you guys have in classical and in Indian music there's way more notes per scales or semitones. There's
so much more math, dude.
Microtones and stuff.
Microtones and stuff like that in between, and I'm listening to it and it's super atmospheric. It's like It's not just like I feel like our music's like trying to make a statement, and this is kind of like brings like I'm listening to it right now, and it's like kind of like an atmosphere of like I see like a landscape when I'm listening to it, so it's very calming. Where I think I guess for our classical music, because classical just means older, it's not like a genre, but yeah, no,
I
can
recently learned
see.
from Thomas. You weren't on the episode, but before classical, it was called Baroque, and I remember I saw that word before, but I never really knew what it was, and I just lumped all that. Like I would call Bach and Beethoven classical up until 39. Then I learned that it's not. It's Baroque. I'm just like, whoa, dude.
There's also like cultural traditional music. Then like they can call it like classical music, or that's like that's it. We're talking about like European classical or like music from Western European classical music that was like before America
like
was even like a country.
Renaissance or like medieval,
like hundreds of years before America was a country, or a couple hundred. So
like medieval and medieval's like from like 2,000 years ago or something.
But we got to get Thomas back on to really like he
blew my mind with a bunch of
I know. Oh, by the way, I didn't go on to that episode because I was like I was really drunk and I was listening to how like good and I watched like most of it. But I was like I just wanted the conversation to go, and I didn't want to come in like the fucking Kool-Aid guy and be like, because I was feeling like I had like nothing to really contribute besides like
there was a lot of that.
Yeah, was that? I was like, no, I think that was last week.
The wrong episode.
Yeah,
but no, that was fun to listen to. By the way, he was.
That's right.
I would like to pick that. I would like to pick that guy's brain sober. But no, it's still like really cool to hear Indian classical, because we've had people from other countries too, and just throw random genres at us, and I'll just type it into YouTube, and I'm like, fuck, okay, so this is what this is called, like. It really it's in meshing it or understanding it against American classical. There's a lot of similarities in there. They're using their older school like sitars in there and stuff, like where violin. It's like it's kind of the same goal that's still there, but it's just with it's a trip. It's a trip.
For sure.
Man.
I don't know. You're looking smooth to Ian tonight. Shout out Ian. Okay, so Jay, you were saying Nirvana, Metallica, Guns N' Roses.
Yeah,
that was your intro to rock and roll.
Yeah. I used to go to cassette shops and ask for Metallica cassettes all the time. And there's a childhood memory of this guy going like, "What do you keep asking me for Metallica cassettes for?" This grown man asking me. I'm like, do you have any more cassettes? And that eventually graduated to Cannibal Corpse a few years down the line. And
so
I picked up Vine. Yeah.
So that's what I want to say is, or ask is, the accent. I didn't realize that it was that big in India. Because what year is this that you're talking about? You think?
I was 10 when I was good with Metallica. 10, 11.
And what year
around
were you
12,
born?
13. Sorry, 88. 88. So
okay.
That's like 96 or something.
No, that would be like
98.
Yeah, 98
Yeah, 98-ish, yeah.
somewhere around that. Yeah.
Nice, dude. So in this, the shop that you were going to, was there a bunch of them? Was there just one that you could get to, and that was the only one?
You'll be surprised. How much metal was out there at the time. Because I don't know. At the time, you couldn't really preview anything, right? So the more brutal the album cover, you're going for it. Like everything is just based off of your visual. So eventually, you pick up stuff that is heavier and heavier. That's just how it goes. So I just there was a shop in Lokhandwal, I think Vineet would know. There were a bunch of shops there, and they had, we're talking around 2000. So up until Bloodthirst, they had all the Cannibal Corpse albums. So I would go there every 2-3 months, and I would drag my mother there. She would oblige, and she'd be like, yeah, whatever, you buy what you want. And I'd pick up one Cannibal Corpse album every 3 odd months. and I would just pour over that, and I would head to the next one, and
Right.
that's just how it went. And there was quite a lot of metal out there at the time, which was very surprising looking
Yeah,
back.
what did parents of things like? I mean, parents out there, what did they think about like?
Yeah.
Because even out here, like seeing like any Cannibal Corpse album from back then, The
Yeah.
Bleeding or Tomb of the Mutilated or something like that, you just bring that home like, hey, I got a new album, parents.
Yeah.
Like here, they're like,
Exactly.
what, like you had to hide it, kind of a thing. Out in India, was there any stigma on that?
Nah.
No?
My folks were very, very progressive, and they're like, yeah, this is music. We know what you're getting into. It's all right. Just and
That's
and they
awesome.
could see, because you just my mother still laughs at the titles. She's like, and my humor is is based off of metal. So is Vinny's, and she gets it. She totally gets it, and so
That's
does my
cool.
dad. So yeah, we just laugh at it. It's just hilarious.
I mean,
how
it's kind of
transition-
a melting pot of culture over there, right? India's got a lot of different culture that comes through there, so I would think that metal culture would make its way in there, a place that is welcome to multiple cultures, right?
Not as much. You would think we are more open to cultures like metal, but it's a very commercial culture out here when it comes to music, especially music and film. So it's definitely not an accepted form. I mean, people just don't want to get into it, and they're more bothered about what's the new hate out there. And music is actually connected very intimately to cinema. So it's not as I think the independent music scene has kicked off, but maybe 10 years ago, up until 10 years ago, it was all about cinema. Like a movie would come out with the latest stars, and they would release an album, like the movie album. You know what I mean?
Soundtrack.
So, but yeah, like soundtrack. There you go. And but maybe for a decade or so, there have been independent artists, and there's been a concert gig culture, and but it's very commercialized music again. It's very poppy and radio friendly stuff, but we are not as open to metal as you would think, considering the multicultural aspect of this place.
Yeah, absolutely. I think even a lot of people who started off playing metal and they decided that, okay, I want to play music for the rest of my life. I think a lot of them, even people who've played with Gaijin in the past as well, are working around the Bollywood ecosystem, right? Because in a way, for you to make money, that's the only direction that you can go in. And there's no independent music, and even lesser so for metal and extreme metal. It doesn't exist. Like I don't think you can make money off of and even pay your rent by playing metal on a regular basis. There should be enough gigs happening for that, right? There's barely any gigs that happen, particularly for the local scenes. And to Jay's point, we've started getting a lot of ulcer rates coming down. I think in November, no, Jay.
Nice.
So so now we've started getting, and that day I think when we found out, Jay and I were talking, it's bizarre to imagine ulcer rate playing in India. Right? It's absolutely bizarre. It feels so alien that a band like Ulcerate would play in India, right? And that's really where we are at. And it's not like there aren't listeners of music. There are quite a few of them, but there's no ecosystem that supports it in a live setting, particularly.
Yeah, I mean,
and
probably here too, right? Probably here too a little bit. As far as like extreme metal's pretty hard to kind of make a living off of. You have to kind of find a niche somewhere off of the actual, playing concerts and putting out albums to like do lessons or something like that to make it out. But so a question I had so when you were talking about soundtracks, is that so? I'm very ignorant with Bollywood, so that's what you're talking about. It's like Bollywood, right? Is that kind of style of soundtrack, right?
Yeah. So that's basically almost like Indian, and I mean, like you don't quote me on this, but it's like Indian pop music, right? So every time there's a new movie out, they'll have a single that will start trending, and that's always been like that. Like even before social media, there would be a couple of songs, and they're called item numbers, right? So that's basically like a hot heroine, like she'll get on the screen and she dance, like, shake a booty and all that shit. And they are very like dancey sort of numbers. You hear the Indian classical bit that you were talking about, right? So in fact, like my exposure to a lot of Indian classical has been like, in bits and pieces that you hear from Bollywood, or like, something that my parents used to listen to.
So a lot of
the
music you're saying is more like out there, it becomes more popular because of the visual aspect and the audio. It's like it can't just be It's not just the audio. Okay, so like they need the movie behind it and then the song. And, okay,
exactly.
There's always like these hook steps and these dance steps that you can do, and and then you walk into like a club or something, or a pub in the night, and then you'll see people like post 12 o'clock, even if it's playing Western music or like rock music, and then suddenly there'll be some Punjabi track that will start playing. And that's very, very common, right? It's not you'll see it across India.
Interesting, cool. That's good.
Yeah, they're designed for hooks. They're designed with musical hooks in mind for clubs. That's the main aim of that is to get hits on YouTube and maybe introduce a bunch of heroes and heroines, and that's all it is. It's just like, hey, introducing this new person here, and it's the same old shitty music, and there's a couple of hooks in there, and then there you go. It's like a mass-produced music. Yeah.
Very interesting with your guys' style of music and your guys' music theory with the like the microtones and stuff like that. You guys have all this like crazy music that can come as far as like the possibilities with your guys' music is insane, and people being into that style of music, you would think that they would want to go like more technical. I don't know, because that already to us that's technical. That like when you get into that style.
Do they use microtones in the pop music over there?
No, no, but you're bang on. You're 100% correct with your analysis, because you would think like with the possibilities that exist, that they would explore certain things, because to their credit, Bollywood has nothing to do with Indian classic music. There are people doing their own thing in the classical music scene. They have their own integrity and they do their thing. They do not mix with the Bollywood thing. And you will hear the microtones there, and the scales and all of that you will hear there. You will not hear it in Bollywood mass-produced music. It's like Walmart. They're pushing out some soap. That's Bollywood.
Is Bollywood, is it kind of is it Western style like written? Is it more Western style with the hooks and stuff? Okay, interesting.
So the hooks are more Western with some Indian elements. Like, so typically, like when it comes to Bollywood, there's a lot of Punjabi music that comes from the north of India, right? So there's a lot of dole, and so the music that you imagine when that you see in memes and all, which is like ding 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 ding. Like when you hear all of that, that's essentially where it comes from. So it is folk music that has gotten adapted into pop music, right? And that's largely, I mean, again, don't quote me on this, but I would assume that with regards to music, that's probably the biggest cultural export that will come from India.
Yeah.
Very cool. I mean, it's still it's cool to just kind of put a lens on to understand, because it's pretty much us too, like, but with like a different set of glasses on. I feel like it's very similar. Like that's really, it's kind of cool to hear like a different side of the world, how their pop music unfolded from their classical music. And that's
but actually, if you think about it, dude, their disdain for pop music probably is deeper than ours, because we're such a young country that we don't really have these set ways of playing. All our music is just taken from everywhere else in the world. Well, the music in India goes back way further. So and if you have these microtones and this technicality to your music, then all of a sudden this pop music pops up that's influenced by us, and you just be like, "Ugh, dude, what is that?"
I'm sure Joseph and Casey.
Where's my microtones?
Yeah, I'm sure Joseph and Casey could like, we've had like music teachers and stuff that were like, dude, Elvis was the downfall of music. Like I've had those teachers like just go like, dude, Elvis came and made it all dumb. And like I remember Ray Brown at Cabrillo was like, he's like kind of a famous jazz teacher. He's like, then I don't know, he came and like stole and just made it all, it was like a gnarly jazz teacher, like a one of the like more influential, I guess, in this area jazz teachers, but he was like anti-Elvis. That was the start of pop music and blah blah. You know, like it's kind of like once you've learned music to like such a like extreme extent scholastically, and then this guy comes, it's like, yeah, I'm just gonna do these like kind of basic parts of it and make it way popular, and then they're like, God damn it, they get kind of pissed.
He's not wrong, dude. He's not wrong.
I can see that.
I think Indian like Bollywood music, the closest similarity we would have would be like musicals, especially the style you're talking about with like the soundtracks. So just I don't think America has this tradition anymore. I think musicals have died out. I don't think we watch musicals, except maybe like Disney is the only major industry player that's still pushing it.
Still like a musical.
What was the big one? What was the huge one that was selling out everywhere it went?
Hamilton, yeah. So Bollywood puts out a lot of like somewhere between Marvel and Hamilton, like kind of like superhero kind of shit, but with the musical stuff. And then
you're giving them too much credit.
I probably
absolutely, man.
Way too much credit.
Yeah, Hamilton is like high level musical, like it's a lot of Bollywood.
No microphones.
No, in fact, I'd attended a creative conference or something that happens, right? So it's people who are in different creative fields, they come in and talk about it. So there's a very famous music producer duo, and their claim to fame was that when they got into the music industry and they were really young, and they'd figured out how to program soundtracks on a keyboard, right? Like because you could just like put drums, you can put like whatever violins, Earlier it used to be these huge orchestra rooms that they had to use, and that would be really expensive. So their claim to fame was that they can make an orchestra sound on a single keyboard and bang out music really, really quickly. And they started, making movies back to back. Ended up making several hits. I think they're probably millionaires right now. In fact, not maybe even like going a little further. So that was really it, right? Like because just Bollywood, and Bollywood is just one film industry, right? There's Bollywood, there's a film industry down south that's Tamil speaking, there's Malayali cinema, there's the east, there's the Kolkata cinema. So that essentially you need, and each of them ends up banging out about 800 films in a year. Damn. So you need someone to like just warm it out music, and it has to be catchy, it has to be fun.
Is there any extreme technical Bollywood, dude?
I was gonna say some experimental Bollywood, dude.
Experimental. There's no experimenting going on there. No.
So experimental. It's all just for like great, just getting the hits. We need the hits and the clicks and the money.
Yep. It's just churned out by the minute.
It's a factory. It's a factory of products that they just follow a specific blueprint. Sounds very familiar, guys, doesn't it?
You guys could start, Jay. You guys can start fucking technical death Bollywood, dude, and just like blow up the scene, dude, and just change everything.
Oh man.
I can tell by their looks. Bollywood's like
saying like do diss tracks.
Bollywood's like going like, dude, you should start like a sicker Nickelback, dude. Like that's kind of their faces. I can see their faces went like, no, dude, we can't do that. We can't do that. That's
we're too far down this rabbit hole of death metal, man. It's too much. And we suffer from integrity, so it's not gonna happen.
It's a good disease.
But the point you were talking about, the homogeneity of pop culture, even in America, like see, modern day Indians are experts at trying to ape the West, but we do it in the most simplistic and uncomplicated way ever. We don't take the good parts of it, we only take the bad parts of it. When it comes to music, especially like you guys are talking about microtones, forget microtones. We have 12 tones, they barely use any of those. So it's about using your tone. So even thinking about classical, time period wise, classical Indian music, I never really got into it because even that to my kiddie ears, was not as complicated as what I heard from the Western side. I mean, I'm talking about death metal and tech death and so on and so forth. This is why we gravitate towards that kind of music. Because we love to listen to the technicality and we kind of delve deep into it, and it's wonderful to us. So it was never so. As listeners of death metal from India, we never missed out on microtones. I mean, we didn't even know what it was. I mean, me and Vinny are awful. We have no theory. By the way, we have no idea about musical theory. Be completely honest. So we don't really come from that space, and just what sounds good to us sounds good to us. And we had 12 tones to work with, and that's more than enough. And what you do with it, and you have time, and you have silence in the middle between your notes, that's enough. And so what Indians and Bollywood does, well, what I mean commercially, what they take from the West, even that they don't do it properly. So that's just the hallmark of what we are today. The homogeneity exists, but there's no room for creativity at all. Like, forget microtones. Let's just stick to the 12 tones we have, and they're not doing a good job right there as well. So.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like that breakdown.
That's what it's. What makes the money? You got the blueprint, and then you just follow that shit over and over again. Keep watching.
It's a dumbing down of everyone, because that's what they expect now. They don't expect anything complicated. They're happy with that, and they move on to the next song the next day. They forget about what they're listening to. There's no delving into the music and all that. Whatever. What's the top 10 today? And let's listen to that stuff and rinse and repeat.
Damn.
Yeah.
So there's not any obsession over music over there. It's more just
okay. Or here. What we're saying, this sounds just like America and how music is on the radio today. It's totally.
I think we obsess harder. We obsess harder, though. I think we obsess over music. What are you saying?
The biggest. I think the biggest demographic of listeners of music today are the people that don't want silence but don't really care what they're listening to. They need something playing. So if it's a catchy hook with some kind of lyrical attachment that they and you just follow a basic, it's like horoscopes. You're gonna the bullseye is bigger when you use certain words and phrases, because you can just a big chunk of people will relate to what you're saying. And if you're doing that to the 4 notes that everybody loves, then you got a hit. They just need to have their own. We were talking soundtracks. People are building their soundtracks, but not really paying attention to the soundtrack. Kind of like how we do when we watch movies. People are living like they're watching a movie.
Yeah. It's more visually based. It's like visual first. I mean, out here, I don't know. I feel like for us, the whole Spotify thing is kind of screwed up the way we interpret and take in music. From what I took, what Jay was saying was kind of like no one's really out in India. They're not like, oh, I need to check out the what's a new band that's coming out. Well, they're just kind of like listening and just like, well, whatever. It's not like a focus, because I feel like the culture might not be focused on like praising if you're a good musician or not. It might just be like, because out here it's kind of like, oh, you play guitar, you play drums. I feel like out in India it's probably not like if you're like, I'm really good at guitar, people are like, who gives a shit? Is that, am I onto something there? I feel like the way you were just talking about it, it's like not who gives a shit, but like what's your career, dude? Are you gonna like do stuff for money, or are you gonna play guitar and fuck around, like play on the monkey bars, like, or something, like, you know what I mean? Like, is that kind of what I'm getting?
Yeah, kind of. So just like recently, this happened to me at my workplace, where someone asked you like, "Oh, Vinny, did you pick up the guitar to score women when you were younger?" So I was like, "Yeah, that's the intention," but then I ended up playing a lot of death metal, right? It didn't really work out. So, so that's literally it, right? Because a lot of people end up picking up to play whatever love songs, pop songs, whatever.
Yeah. A lot of because when I worked in Sacramento, I had a bunch of Indian friends. One of my best friends there was my buddy Rajneesh, and just his family was so brutal on him. I was like about like him succeeding and doing like owning a business and doing all those things, and I was like, dude, he's having a good time. He's having fun. He's like playing a little guitar, like hanging out. But they were like, it seemed like he was always kind of under the thumb of them a little bit, just going like, I can't do this stuff. Like I can't. And one of my favorite dudes, he changed his name to Happy. And because his name was so technical, it was so long that he changed his name to Happy, and he was the grumpiest motherfucker in my life.
Nice.
And he was like, he ended up being my supervisor, and dude, he's amazing. Like I love that guy so much. Like, we used to go to lunch all the time, hang out, and just understand it. Just understanding that like his family was like expecting like you go up, like you have to go up, dude. Like don't be like that. I don't know. It seems like completely different from our kind of side where it's like whatever makes you happy, like do whatever arts make you happy, like and Raj and Happy were just like, dude, our parents need us to like fucking own businesses in like 2 years. they were like gnarly on them, and I was like, okay, well, it's like just a different culture is all I'm getting at. But do you feel that pressure as far as like playing like metal and stuff like that out in India and stuff, and like just doing your thing out there? Do you feel that pressure from family?
I mean, I'll take it. Fuck yeah, man! Like it's it's a big thing. I mean, like the way where my family comes from, it was very different. So even when I picked up, started playing the guitar and all, I remember having fights with my folks about like my dad was saying my son's not going to play the guitar and walk around with a guitar all his life, right? And called it like a slightly weird. So there's this thing called a tambura, right, which is basically a lot of these hermits and all, they end up carrying it around and playing it. So like my son's not going to carry a tambura and walk around all day, right? Like that's literally it. Like I think it took them quite some time to sort of realize that it's not like life is a little more you're not unidimensional as a person. It's not just your job to be a provider, and you can do several other things and still do what you need to do.
Very cool.
Quite a bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. That's awesome. That's really cool. That's
interesting. Yeah,
that's cool.
Jay's over there. Hey, Jay's over there. Like, I don't know what you're talking about because my mom used to take me to go get Cannibal Corpse.
I know my mom like Cannibal Corpse.
No, I mean, I got into it so early. So initially they were like, might be a phase, and they all do. But then they're like, no, this guy really loves this shit, and they're very open. They're very supportive, and
that's awesome.
Yeah. But they're like, what are you getting into? They still have their concerns, and they knew for a fact that I wasn't even thinking about doing this full time because everybody, no matter how stupid you are, that if you plan on getting into something like this full time, you will, starve to death. You're going to starve. You're asking for it. So they knew that it was going to be a hobby. So they weren't concerned all that much. And even then, I never went down the whole science or the tech Indian route. I'm an artist. I paint and I am a graphic designer. So anyways, I was taking a third road that most Indians don't. And their worry was more towards that. And
that's
so
awesome.
they knew that the death metal and all, he loves it. It's just coming from a place of love. And so they were fine with it,
That's very cool. That's I like that a lot. That's not putting anything on you, just like he's good at this, and you're logical about it though too. You're not like as far as you're not like I'm gonna be a millionaire, dude. You're not coming out saying that. Yeah, you're like this is a hobby. I love this, but I understand like food is nice for a human being. I like food. Food is good too. So I need to make money to eat food, but like I'm gonna do this because it's my passion and my art and stuff. That's awesome. That's really cool.
And metal, I think across the world is the same. Like
100%.
It exists only because of love. Like nobody really. All of our heroes, Cannibal Corpse, the biggest death metal band in the world. You don't see them in Ferraris. You know where you're at. So you know the expectations that you can have, and also considering that you're born in India, so you should know, you should be realistic about it, and we all were. So maybe even calling it a hobby is downgrading it because it's a way of life. Metal is not a passing phase. This I know I'm going to be doing this forever.
And I think that
on the side, but yeah,
we're kind of more rich than the people who do something they hate and get paid a lot of money for. You know? The money is obviously no matter what, money is a plus, but if you're miserable all day doing what you don't want to do, or even being in a band playing music you don't want to play and you're getting paid good money for it, after a certain amount of time you're going to realize that you're not doing what you're doing, so your life kind of sucks. So it doesn't really we feel exhilarated while we're playing the music that we're playing, and that we're chasing that feeling. So I think that the currency that we're getting from doing what we do is more valuable.
Well, I think it balances things out a little bit. Like, I think doing music keeps us sane, you know? And no matter how much your job sucks or doesn't suck, I mean, all jobs to a point suck, but I think ideally you find your little niche or your place in whatever you're doing, and you make it like not insufferable, you know? You just make it's work is work, you know? Like it's nice when work just becomes like work, like you just work, just getting stuff done, and you have a lot of stuff to do, but it's not like this crazy weird like stress, like toxic shit like that creates all this other stuff. Anyways, but
you get into like the zone doing what you just like
just when work is just work. Yeah, it's cool.
If I had Honda Civics coming in all day, I would be such a robot zombie, dude.
You need that change up.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. But I also sorry, I'm so sorry.
Go for it.
But this also, just to add to that, this form of love is kind of a curse if you think about it, you know, in a different way. We're cursed with this love. Like, we can't let go of metal. There's a lot of suffering involved, you know. Like, I don't have a great career. I'm not making a lot of tons of money or anything. But because all this time that I spent doing this, I could have done, you know, in a career-wise, you know. And but this is something I just can't do without. You just can't do without it, even though you know what you're doing and where you're spending time is ultimately fruitless.
But it's monetarily. You got the bug. You guys are obviously extremely. You guys are very extremely intelligent. I can tell right off the bat just talking to you guys. You guys could have done whatever you want. I mean, as far as like whatever technological, whatever the fuck you wanted to do, and like you're like, but I need to have this like passion to be this kind of like this. I mean, for me, it's kind of turned into like playing guitar now. Is my just like in the corners, like just as my relief. It's like just. That's my little fun place, right? Like whatever is going on in my life, it doesn't matter. I just play guitar. My life could be good or bad.
Given to just like, that.
Yeah, I'm just focused on it. And I'm like, this is a good therapy. I feel like metal.
You're meditating right then.
Yeah,
that's actually a meditation.
Meditating. Sorry, I just made that up.
You're meditating, dude.
Meditating.
But no, it is. Dude. It is. One thing I've noticed about like a lot of. I mean. I keep putting the dots together with like real metalheads are fucking happy. They're not.
Yeah.
They have an outlet. They have, and we've talked about this a million times. But the ones that go out there and like want to start shit at metal shows, it's like they don't like metal that much. I feel like they don't. Like they're not the ones that like are pissed at shows that are trying to like make the biggest pit or whatever. Like you don't care. I could talk to you about like the difference between three bands and you'd have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about. And like people that are actually into it, it's like
make sure you meditate twice a day, dude, for a better
meditate. I don't know.
Dude, I'm literally thinking about shirts right now, like a Cali Death podcast shirt, and then on the back it just says meditate twice a day.
With like one hand like this, one hand like this, just like
dude. I'm fucking all in on that as the next shirt, dude.
I got $5 on it.
Lactate. No, but like I think it's like a release thing, and I think some people come from like a very aggressive state, whatever it is that they do, and then they release that, and it's like it could be super aggro and violent, and that's what you're seeing. Like people that like not all mosh pits are like that, but I'm just saying you're talking about like the worst case scenario, like dudes just wanting to fuck people up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Violent. Like it's like that's 100%. A release for them too. You know, it's like that's the same release. Like some dude just wailing on a guy. It's like the same release of just sitting down in a drum kit and just blasting 240 fucking pissed. Like it's not like, but it's just a much more positive like use.
Yeah, it's like no jail time, just like
no jail time.
No, it is there. I was listening to a psychologist break down metal, and they were saying that or just music in general. They said that because I'm the guy that if a riff or something happens that's really cool, I'll start tearing up. I start tearing when it's a riff is so good. Or something is so good, and I'm like, I'll have like tears coming down. But I'm like, it's not sadness. It's like it's so much happiness that my eyes are just going like, Jesus. I'm like, dude, tearing down. Like
Nutshell by
yeah.
Dude,
so many bands.
Nutshell, Alice in Chains, dude. Like Down in a Hole does it too. Like there's like certain songs that like. Do you guys have songs like that just like every time, like, or if you try to sing along, or I don't know, if you like get in the right moment, it just makes you like tear up, like
not cry, but like tear up in excitement.
No,
I mean, you're
like,
crying. No, crying is like I'm not like that.
Yeah,
I'm talking about like,
or just feel
like
it to the point where you feel like you're gonna cry. Like it's so good, like a good.
Yeah. Yes. Me too. Jay,
man, I'd say off the top of my head, I would say like Sour Flow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like you're just so into it that like I don't know. For I kind of have these like I don't know. It kind of goes back to Bollywood for you guys. So it's like imagine if we had a Bollywood.
No,
not that.
No,
not that.
What are you talking about?
No. Let's say like I'm trying to make it relatable.
Direction.
I'm trying to sour flow. I'm making a sour flow. But
okay.
There you go. No, but as far as like someone that's like into a certain style of music that's like derived in classical music in America, like, but then now they're into pop music. I just want to show them sour flow and be like, dude, how sick. Like when I'm listening to it, I'm kind of like, dude, you need to get in. My brain kind of goes like, this is so much sicker than everything I've heard. And I want to show someone that's like into music or into the pop music that this is amazing. You know, I kind of it's a weird like part in my brain that just wants.
How many times does that happen? And then the person you want
zero.
To
Zero. I've never showed someone Spawn of Possession out of nowhere. Like when they never even started with metal, I'm like, let's just show them Spawn of Possession to start off, dude. And they're always just like, what the fuck?
Your mom's not gonna understand.
What are you doing to me? Yeah,
I know, because you have to go up. Like you have to go up the stairs. You can't just like go like 1 or 0 to 60. You have to
I showed my grandma Spawn of Possession. She didn't understand.
She didn't understand. She didn't understand, dude.
You showed her church.
She handed you a Bible.
Sorry.
You need Jesus, mama.
But even with technical musicians that that are really good at music and other genres, like you try to be like, dude, check this out, and they're just like, what? It's like they need they still need to step. They can't just like jump right into Spawn of Possession. And it sounds super elitist to say that. Like you don't understand, dude. You don't understand it. It's all good. You don't get it. Like, but it's true. You don't. Like you need to go through the Cannibal Corpse, Slayer, Cannibal Corpse, Deicide. You need Morbid Angel. Start like stepping up.
It's my classic rant of when you come across these bands in the order that you come across them. There's secret software upgrades, dude, and they get downloaded when you listen to it, and then you're ready for the next thing to come, the next software update to come, dude, and you just gotta find it.
It's not ready for it. Like you jump too far ahead. It's like there's an error, dude. There's an error.
You gotta have this
upgrade files. Drive was missing.
I think my motherboard's too old.
Look
I
at how
can't handle
sexy
it anymore.
Joseph looks in that shirt right there, dude.
Oh shit, he's back.
Damn.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Damn.
Speaking of severed,
we didn't plug it in the beginning, dude. Fuck.
I gotta ask, are you guys coming out with a new album? Please.
I would love for that to happen. That's all I have to say about it. I would love for that to happen. But right now, let's just get this thing out of the way, which is not out of the way, but it's gonna be great, dude. Texas Domination Fest. And what it's gonna be we didn't say where it is, and I had it right here and then I put it away. It's at
the Haltom Theater.
Haltom Theater in Haltom City, actually, too. So, Texas Domination Fest. Less than a week from today, I'm flying out. I'll be flying out on Wednesday next week, and we'll be rehearsing and hanging out at the fest too. 26th, 27th, 28th. It's first time on stage in 12 years, dude. It's gonna be wild.
Wow. Are you scared,
dude?
I'm definitely scared, but I'm feeling, I'll never be 100% with myself, so I'm always like, oh, you could do better, but I'm feeling the
do it naked.
Dude,
that would be better. Yeah.
That'd be cool. Just standing in the middle of the shop, just using the echo in the shop's pretty dope when I'm growling, actually.
Oh, you get some natural, cool. some natty reverb.
Yep. And my
cool.
undies, dude, that might be kind of cool. But yeah,
I know that's gonna suck for. I mean, that's one thing. It's like, as far as like, because you only have a few days to practice. We talked, me and you texted earlier, but I was like, I was like, yeah, are you practicing with them? And he's like, oh, we're going to practice for a few days. But like, I would think about like
maybe 2 to 3 rehearsals before we actually do this.
And you make a good point.
That's the new thing.
Well, throwing out your throat though, like that's what I'm saying. Like, you have to like listen to it super loud somehow, and just have your ears plugged and just like fucking, because you don't know how it's going to be completely different on stage.
I forget, dude. It's gonna be so weird.
Your main thing you have to figure out, because it's been so long getting on stage, is the monitor mix. Because also, if you're lost in that shit, like,
well,
I told Anthony I'm living through him. Like right now, I'm like, are you? He's like, I'm like, are you practicing? He's like, no. I'm like, and I got anxiety. I was like, well, are you gonna?
No, I'm not practicing as a band. I am practicing. I'm practicing myself, but as a band, we have not practiced yet, dude.
Well, I understand, like, I put myself in people's positions, so I'm like, all right, so you don't practice, you haven't done that for a while or screamed for a while.
Quit saying that I don't practice. I fucking practice.
I mean, no, practicing with a band, dude. Like, you're gonna be screaming louder than you've ever practiced at your house. I'm just saying. You're gonna be like,
is it really about being louder? Because you got a microphone. You don't have.
It's also usually on tour.
I'm trying to zen out as much as I can, dude, while I'm doing it. I'm trying to find a place where I could stay relaxed.
But usually, like, show 5 on a tour, you like figure out like where it's at, like what's going on. Yeah. You get 1.
No, this is show 1.
I just love how Joel's getting anxiety about it.
I am, dude.
It's all good, dude. I'm glad you have it, and I don't. I'm too busy to fucking have anxiety about it right now.
Yeah. And he's got like 17 cars backed up in the line.
I got all that shit. Got the fucking house. Got that all happening at once. The universe loves to just dump it all on me.
The first Severed song comes out, and he's just all like crawling in my skin. That's like a fucking like brain misdirection.
That'd be hilarious.
But well,
people travel all far, and you just start singing like Linkin Park.
songs. No, there's 3 songs that I kind of forgot lyrics for. All right, enough about us.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be fine. I think it's just definitely like we're looking to.
I think it might be fine, dude.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
No, it doesn't matter. He just make up lyrics if he fucks it.
Oh yeah.
Whatever, dude.
Servile songs are. I have those in the back of my pocket.
Yeah, Survival Interruption is going to be really good.
Ones.
I want to hear about their music and more about.
Yeah. Let's get back on. Let's get back on them.
Did you guys talk about getting Connie as your drummer yet? Because I would love to hear about that.
No, not at that.
So elaborate, dude, for sure.
Yeah, so in fact, so just coming back to the story, Jay and I were writing music. We had a lineup, but then all of us sort of, moved
How'd you guys
around.
meet?
That's so. So Gaijin, I started off with Gaijin in 2010, 2011, somewhere around that time. It was a 4-piece band, and at the time I was, listening to a lot of Necrophagus, and Anatta had happened, and I remember obsessing over Anatta, and because, particularly because of those counterpoint lines, I really needed to jam with another guitar player because it was just a bass player, drummer, and a vocalist besides me. So I remember asking around, I didn't know Jay at that time, and asking around people that, is there, like, I want to do this, and is there someone that you know? I don't remember who actually, just said, hey, you need to talk to this guy, Jay. Shezan, yes. So so he told me, and then I think Jay messaged me on Facebook, and then we went, got a beer, and from that time we started. So we would just sit in Jay's bedroom and, just try and riff. We'll put down guitar pro tracks and see how we can do it, right? Because it's not something like both of us from a skill level weren't, and still are not at a place where you can just go into a jam room and bang out these really complex songs. So we started, meeting once in a week, twice in a week while writing, and largely in our control room, which was Jay's bedroom, older bedroom, where we would just like hang out and just write, right? Like just listen to music, write music. And that's really how it happened. And then slowly and steadily, it just evolved into the two of us, right? Because it was such a guitar player dominated band with, like, two geeks just nerding out over each note, and we need to do this here. And just something, I remember there have been times where we've changed. We wanted to change like one riff because the transition wasn't fitting, and we've ended up writing an entire section for it, and we ended up changing the entire song. Also, like one thing was that I think when we met, Jay and I met, there was this somewhere, and I don't know, Jay, if you felt this back then, but it was almost like, I think we just agreed from the get-go that, there'll be two very distinct guitar lines that will be playing on each side, right? Where it's not just like, finding that groove pocket and jumping, but rather like, creating this thing. And I think that just clicked. That's really how it happened. And I think Jay officially, we tried doing a side project, and then that side project just turned into Gaijin itself, which just like came into over here. So I think about 13, 13, I think. Yeah. That's when the Gaijin, even the previous EP, the 2015 EP that we hear is from him.
So there was a vision for the band, and you guys were kind of just naturally tied in to like the same ideas.
And that's more or less.
Where it became.
Yeah, we like the same bands pretty much.
Yeah. I remember us, just getting over Anatta. Like that, I think that was like the selling point for me as well, right? Like, and I remember Jay was like, oh, you listen to Anatta, and Conductor's Departure. We would, talk about it, and how we tried covering Downward Spiral into Madness, and which like I phenomenally failed at. But but it was, and thankfully it wasn't a live thing, and like we were just like trying to do it as bedroom guitar players, and but yeah, like I think a lot of these things, are very often I think with Jay and I there's this overlap of bands, like even till date. I think we keep sharing like, oh, did you listen to this, or there's this old band, and a lot of my style is influenced by his, and I'm sure it goes the other way as well.
Yeah. Who did the vocals on the first record? Did you already mention that?
Oh no, not at all. That's Malcolm. So he was a part of the older lineup as well. And so our original intention was to have vocals throughout, but with the amount of time that we had, I think because we reached out to Pierre Reniard, who has mixed and mastered albums like From Wisdom to Hate and Martyrs Feeding the Abscess, and we just ended up writing to him, and he was very happy to take it forward. So that deadline was coming close, and we didn't have time to close the vocals. So that was just like one song that we ended up writing, which had vocals on it.
So were you two kind of feeding music to each other and kind of building each other deeper into the underground shit? Were you guys all seasoned before you met each other?
No, I mean, it all started from the bands we love, and we had a very solid common ground there. So we knew what we wanted to do, like a framework that what style of music we want to actually do, right? As opposed to old school death metal or all the other subgenres.
But I'm more talking about what you were just enjoying listening to, not anything that was influencing the band, but just because once I always call it a rabbit hole. You're digging down a rabbit hole, and the further you get is sometimes influenced by people around you too. So once you guys met, did you guys trade music with each other and kind of dig yourself down that rabbit hole quicker together?
I think we are already there. I don't know. We were already quite deep into the rabbit hole. So every band I'd be like, hey, have you heard this? He'd be like, yeah. He'd be like, have you heard this? I'd be like, yeah, probably. So we had a fair idea. I mean, and then of course there were other bands that eventually, as we got to know each other, I'm like, oh my god, we need to love this stuff. Or you do the same. So we
you guys
both
just were digging on the internet by yourself, and then you got to a certain point, and then met each other, and you were just like, oh, we've been down the same rabbit holes.
Like, exactly. Yeah.
Pretty much.
Nice.
Like I said earlier, technicaldeathmetal.org. Like that was like you would end up picking up bands from there and just like talk about it, and either Jay would have listened to it or I would have listened to it, and we would get a little more into it. Like very often I would go to Jay's place and he's been like obsessive, listen to this, like listen to this particular part, and then play it again, and he'll like, oh shit, that's interesting, and I didn't catch that previously. So yeah, I guess in a way we did dig ourselves into that rabbit hole and kept going.
True.
Like I remember I got into King Crimson like very heavily. I still obsess over them. So we have these moments as well, right? I was like, listen, have you heard King Crimson? I was like, I don't want to listen to King Diamond. Fuck that. I remember him thinking it's King Diamond or something. He didn't know. I was like, have you heard this band?
I know he's falsetto vocals,
yeah. And then he ended up loving it, right? Because it's always like that. And, it just either of us end up coming around to that band at some point. Because the music taste is very similar.
Yeah, Vinny introduced me to a lot of prog rock. I really had not explored that space. So King Crimson and and a bunch of these old school bands that are just phenomenal.
Joel, when he comes back, he just saw the Beat tour with the.
Oh no!
You guys are
so jealous.
I didn't get. I have not.
Why on playing King Crimson parts, man? Like that's.
I want to go so bad.
Yeah.
Please go. Please go.
Please do, man. Please go.
Yes. If not for us.
Abandon everything else.
Oh man, Ricky from Dreamer also went to the LA show.
Really?
I wanted to ask you guys, what's your favorite Anata album?
And for me, I have to say Conductors.
Conductors. So that's probably everyone's favorite, but I like Under a Stone with No Inscription. That's
wonderful.
That was my introduction. That one right there. But Conductor's Departures just got some really. It's got some parts that really emotionally take me for a roller coaster. You know,
absolutely.
The great
so cohesive.
Oh my god, yeah.
Under a Stone is just like belting out stuff, and it's beautiful individually. But Conductors is one product, it's so cohesive, it's so well thought out, and the emotion in it is just passive. It's wonderful, beautiful.
Totally. What's the one instrumental song on there? I think
Children's Laughter.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
That it still gives me the involuntary emotion. Like there's certain songs that that are gonna win in the battle of trying to get into my emotional safe. But they crack the safe every time, dude. There's something that no matter what I do, no matter what boundaries I try and put up, they still end up making me feel a certain way when I listen to them. And that's, I think, what Anata is always trying to do with their music, dude, is involuntary emotions.
Absolutely. Like what Joel was talking about emotion and what sour flow makes us feel. Children's Laughter is definitely on that list for sure.
Yeah.
So you guys got the drummer of Anata, Connie, on the album. So how did you guys connect with him?
So I mean, actually, for me, I mean, there was only one name, and I mean, I wanted Connie all along. There's nobody else that I wanted.
That's awesome.
And so we went all out, we just mailed him our stuff. And I think Beneath was the driving force about giving me a little confidence and bravery. Because I was like, I would, for Pierre and for Connie, for that matter. Because he's like, just mail them, and what are they going to do? At the most, they'll say no. So we're like, yeah, let's do it. Let's ask Pierre and let's ask Connie, and they both said yes, and it was great. And he was the one and only choice for me. It was just Connie. There's nobody else for me.
Yeah,
that's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he did a great job, dude. The drums sound super fucking cool. It's so refreshing. I haven't heard anything he's done since Conductors, so to hear him playing again something new is really awesome.
How long was he in Anata for? Was he the original Anata?
He was. I just looked this up. If you don't mind. He wasn't on the first album, but he was on the next three.
Okay, so the Dreams of Death and Dismay or something, right? That was
he's
from
on
Relapse.
That one. Yeah, he's on that one, and then the next two as well.
And me and Carrie were obsessed with it. Like, and then Conductors came out, and we're like, what the, exactly that kind of counterpoint, that rhythm in that in their main song, that what's it called? Jesus, I can't think of it right now. The biggest song on that album.
Downward Spiral.
Downward Spiral. That counterpoint, how it builds, and it feels like it's like morphing over. I remember like completely getting my mind blown by that. I was like, what do they do? And I remember like cutting off, not going stereo, going mono on one side and listening to it. So I was like, whoa, like they did that with doing it completely blew my mind. It's still one of my favorite all-time death metal like melodic riffs. That's up there, like top 3. Completely brings like a whole. It just makes you feel like you're just like, I don't know, filling up. You're just like flying.
We would love to have one or more members on, guys.
Maybe we've been hitting Frederick up. I've been hitting Frederick up for Frederick, right? The singer. I've been hitting him up. He's like, yeah. He's like, I'm into it. Yeah, totally. Let me think about it. And I'm like a year later, I'm like, are you down again? What's going on? Come on. And
you got him being Frederick on.
Oh no, yeah. I went at him and the guitar player of Theory in Practice. I'm like completely like after.
Oh them. Yes, hell yes.
Yeah,
hell yes. What a band.
I know, and I was like, I remember I actually recently pulled up the instant messages between me and him, and he's like, I don't think I have much to talk about though, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, you're one of the best guitar players, like the underrated guitar players that no one's ever heard. I mean, people have heard, but like, you were up there with like Colonizing the Sun's like one of my favorite like masterpieces of metal, and he's just underground band that did this, and no one, I mean, not no one, but the underground only knows about them, but like, that song
that is a common theme.
Oh yeah, dude, Jesus.
What an album! Oh man,
know.
if there's
Function,
one
dude.
album that I want remastered, it would be Armageddon Series.
Yeah,
Even
Absolutely. The
above
wall of sound.
Colonizing.
know.
That is chaos. That is just
I know.
unbelievable.
It's
Yeah.
insane.
Ridiculous.
Nah,
Ridiculous.
dude. Third Eye
He has
Function. That's mine.
Third eye function.
Yeah.
That's the best,
Good
dude.
one.
I'm a Third Eye Function guy. Yep.
No, I like that, dude. All their shit is amazing. They're, like pushing the limits, testing different kinds of new, pretty much melodic style of playing. I've never really heard, and still haven't really heard it, since they came and went.
Why aren't
Yeah.
they talked about as much, dude? Why do we nerd out on it, but we don't hear them in the conversation of?
I remember
the
Trevor
we
Stern had,
goat them.
yeah, Brock Dahlinger, Trevor Stern had was like obsessed with them too, and me and him would just get in these conversations about him. He ended up singing on a song with them, and I was like, "Fuck yeah, this is gonna push them to the next level." And then just like the song came out, it was like big for it's kind of like what you're talking about with India, like songs big for a minute, no one cared. All right, gone, and just kind of like went away.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Very
They did
possible.
one with Trevor.
Yeah. What song is this with Trevor?
It was on their newest release, which was probably 5 or 6 or 7 years ago.
Crescendo Design. That was 2017.
2017. Yeah. I remember I was like, because I remember they were like, we have a big, like a secret guest that's going to sing a song on the album. And then they had an outline of a guy and they had the theory and practice guys. And I was like, this is where it's at right now. We finally got this band out, coming out with something big and people are paying attention. And then that song came out, people were stoked. And then it just kind of, they didn't play any shows or do anything. They just kind of went away. And Peter Lake. That's the guitar player's name. Yeah. I keep everyone in the chat, or if you're listening to this, just go message him to be on this because I want him on this so bad.
That'd be cool.
He thinks he has nothing to talk about. I'm like, dude, I have 90 riffs to talk to you about that. I'm like,
let's go riff by riff.
Yeah.
It's
just insane. But anyways,
I mean, just the mid 90s in Sweden, man. Like you had the melodic stuff, and then you had enough people who were rebelling against that to make technical death its own offshoot of death metal within that country.
100%.
Just from 95 to 2005, just some of the best music came out of Sweden.
Yep. That's what
and Quebec.
Yeah.
Quebec. Yeah. Quebec. Yeah.
Quebec is a hotbed. I mean, in Pierre's words, I have quite a lot of conversations with him, and he said, we have these really dark, violent winters, so we all go inside and we make the most heaviest music possible, and that's how we get. I mean, he was just joking, but there's something about something in the water there. Yeah, Quebec is special.
At the Gates, wrote, obviously, one of the biggest albums of all time there, but they had a song on Slaughter of the Soul that was called Suicide Nation. It's one of their biggest songs on there. But I remember looking more into it, and they were the Suicide Nation, and it was I went more in depth and looking in why, and it's because they were just foggy and cloudy all the time. This is a scientific reason why.
Lack of vitamin D.
Exactly. So they didn't get enough vitamin D there, and it was the number one suicide capital of the world because people were depressed. There's fog. People were it's kind of this kind of somber kind of area to live, but they made all the best music, and I'm it's kind of in America, it's when we were younger, it's the best ones were on heroin and they died. So
yeah, I mean, it is. There has to be some physical trauma in order for
you can't fake shit
real
like that.
music.
People can tell what's up. You
if
can't
it's too much sun, it's just reggae.
Too much sun, it's reggae. It's we're trying to be happy, dude.
Reggae is cool. I'm just kidding.
I love reggae.
But no, you need authenticity in a lot of that.
You
stuff.
wear sandals, you definitely love reggae.
Yeah, dude. But it is that's probably some of the most simple music I've ever listened to.
It's good reggae, man. It's good reggae.
Oh no. Oh, dude. Believe me, it's not about technicality in reggae, it's about vibe, dude.
Technical reggae.
Yeah,
Well, no,
dude,
actually,
that one
Joseph
album
turned me on to
Joseph,
Groundation, dude.
Right.
Yeah,
And
we've already done this.
we
Oh,
have done
that
this
sounds
several
familiar.
episodes ago, but
It's like
it is
3 years back, but yeah.
already.
Is it technical in 4/4 though, or are they messing with
No,
it?
no.
Really?
No,
Okay.
there's
Joseph, real quick.
it's like 5/4, 7/4, 9/4. That album, it's like every song is a different time signature, and there's 14 songs. They have some in 4/4, so but they
What's the
try
name
to
of the
cover
album again?
End it.
We Free Again.
We Free Again.
Yeah, the best reggae
Again.
album of all time, other than Bob Marley, which is like the top 10 is just Bob Marley, and then
Right.
you can start
And
the
then
list underneath that.
Below that. Dude, Don Carlos kills it. All right. Yeah, that's some tech
Augustus
reggae.
Pablo. Yeah. But that's a cool thing that you guys got, Connie, and that your music kind of captures that vibe that we were just talking about, and brings it somewhere new. You guys, I mean, your music stands up to all that stuff. I mean, the double guitar parts are very technical and melodically interesting. Where are you guys going? So as far as I understand, this music was recorded like 6 years ago, but released this year. So what have you guys been up to? And I think all of us on the pod are still sitting on music that was recorded that long ago too. So that's par for the course. But yeah, anything else has happened in that time, or what's coming up, or?
Well, we no, not a lot has happened since, but we've been sitting on the album for a very long time, and we are in a difficult place. Like, my father passed away in 2018, and we were in full flow at the time. And but then we started recording, and well, it was composed. Everything was finished by 2018, and but we started recording and recorded eventually in 2019, and then we took it full force, and then actually it became a lot emotionally, and for me at least. So I told Vineet, like, I'm not feeling it right now after the album was done, because I poured everything into it, and then I just didn't want any part of it at the time. So we both agreed, like, let's do it when we are both in a good space. So that's why it was shelved, at the time. But since we released it, we just released it right now. But there'll be music for sure, and we both started writing. But who knows? This is such it's a lifestyle, but a hobby, but nobody's really banking on it, and so it'll take its own time. It'll take its own space. It needs its own time and space, and let's see what happens.
When bands come through town, is there opportunities to play with them? Is there, like, if you guys are to start jamming again, doing stuff like that, is there opportunities like to open up for like bands that are touring?
Yeah, there are definitely opportunities. I mean, they exist as such, but we found it very difficult to get other players, like drummers and bass players and vocalists. Vocalists might not be so difficult, but it's been we've had too many bad experiences there, and when we had a good drummer, he was busy with work and he had to leave eventually, so that didn't work out. And so the whole recruitment process has been really painful, and so we kind of ditched the idea of ever going live, at least for now. So that's why we wrote this album in a very technical way, so thinking like, this is going to be a studio project, and it is playable, but it'll take a lot of rehearsal. It'll take a lot of time to actually we wrote it that way, we just went all out pretty much.
Because it's not just the two of us sort of knowing our parts and syncing in together, but like getting 3 other people or 2 other people at least to sort of come in. So we always found it very difficult just to get 5 people in a room and get to practice. And it's particularly this material is very, very like difficult for us, and we just not found the right people, like Jay said. Like,
how far do you guys live from each other?
Not that far. So in fact, Jay also live very close. He just recently moved, and I moved back to this place. So I think about what, like it's a
20, 30 minutes
30
away.
minutes.
No,
Yeah,
not far.
30 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So there's not like a plethora of or a large amount of people to play with that want to play metal in that area. You have to like really dig deep if you want to find, and there'll probably be like 15 to 20 probably, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
it.
Yep.
There's not
Pretty
a whole
much.
big pool of musicians who
Yeah.
want to play this, and even
Yeah.
if they are pretty disillusioned with like,
Mhm.
yeah, let's go do this. But when
Yeah.
it actually comes down to it, when you see them in the jam room, they're not prepared, or something goes wrong, and we don't tolerate that shit, and it never works out
I
eventually.
love this because I like the fact that like people can have hobbies to go throw a football or play basketball or something, but like I feel like having a realistic hobby of metal is
Mm.
that's like it's like I would like to make music but I want to have fun and I want to like not that I'm saying that's fun, but like I want to like make a living. I want to make music. I want to do things, but like realistically, let's do it realistically. We get together every now and then, jam. Like that's kind of like me and Carrie are kind of the same way. We'll like get together and like jam songs that we worked on and stuff like from a long time ago, and it's like it's a lot of fun. But like in the current culture that we're living in, it's very expensive. We have to like like taking days off is like, all right, so all right, how
Yeah.
are we gonna compensate for that? And it's but also too just have it as a hobby. Like the hobby
Mm.
thing, that's one thing that and I'm sure Casey and stuff when we were touring, I would come home and I would like put my instrument in my closet and I would shut it after a long tour. I'd be like, I don't want to fucking see that thing for a while. I'm not feeling inspired. I don't want to
He
play.
was always grumpy.
Yeah, I was like once I got home, I was like fucking I was like kind of like fuck tour. I was like fuck tour, but that was a lot of fun. It was a lot of memories. It was a lot of fun, but like at the same time, like I'm not like I don't want to play music like after all that, like like music. I'm not trying to play music, but I want to play like another instrument maybe and have like fun when I'm sitting on my couch. But I don't want to like the intensity of like, all right, you guys ready? All right, go, and like all that stuff like constantly and like playing with all your like people that you've looked up to your whole life was like, so much pressure. Like I just want to watch them and I want to like play on my couch. Like, I don't want to like have to live up to or not have to live up, but like have to just I don't know. It's not competing, but just have that pressure. I don't like pressure. I like what Anthony has to deal with in a week. I don't want to deal with that.
I don't either.
But I think it's the objective that you set out with. Right.
Yeah.
If you just want to jam for fun, if you want to, hey, let's cover a couple of songs just for fun, then there's no pressure.
Yeah. 100%.
Then you haven't learned your part. That's fine. Let's figure it out on the spot. It's fine. The objective is just to have fun. But if the objective is to play shows, then you have to get your shit together. And because then time becomes really precious because everyone's leaving. Personal lives and making time for that jam, and your eventual objective is to actually go out gigging. So you need to be really tight, and so then the stakes are much higher. So and then you have to follow through over a course of months. You can't just call it quits in the middle because eventually your rapport builds up and you get better at it and so on and so forth. So you have to commit to it if you want to go live, and
100%.
it has to be. And if it's a 10-10 band, you need to practice for at least 6-8 months together, and then maybe you'll have a gig or two.
100%. I mean, especially like for us too. It's I don't know. I feel like it's way because we have metal close by to us. We have shows coming through all the time. Like for you guys out there, I don't feel like you have that. There's not many metal shows where you could just be like, all right, there's this one venue that has metal shows every night, and there's this other one that has metal shows every other night. Like it's not like much. It would take a lot for you.
What was the first metal show you guys been to out there? Anything like?
I think for me it was there's a concert that happens. I think I was still like in school, like 10th grade or something, and It's called iRock. It was a free concert, and a lot of bands play. And I remember catching this band called Pin Drop Violence there. I think that was the first time I heard metal music. That came out.
I as in independence, not like the Apple I.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, Independence Rock. Yeah, that's what it's
Yeah.
called.
Yeah.
I got Pin Drop Violence there. I think that was my first metal gig.
When's the last metal show you guys saw out there?
We recently caught Animals as Leaders in Bombay. Like I think just about
nice.
yeah, about a few weeks ago. So I think about 4 weeks ago. I think
Nice.
2 weeks ago, so only 2 3 weeks.
2 weeks ago. It feels so long.
Yeah.
No, that's a band that you definitely get entranced while watching live. I watched him with his first band Reflux, and it's same thing. There was something very magical about his playing Tosin.
It's amazing.
He was a master of the foot pedals at the time. I remember him recording and looping a rhythm so he can solo over it, but he was doing it in real time.
Yeah.
You know, that was just wild to me. And then he would shred the way that he would shred over that rhythm, and it was you're in a trance, dude.
I have so many regrets about not with touring with them, but I've done 2 tours with Tosin. One with he was filling in for Born of Osiris, one of the Animals leaders, and he would just constantly be like, "Hey Joel, you want a guitar lesson?" And I'd be like, "No." I would say no to, and then just seeing him like on the cover of every guitar magazine for like the next 15 years, like I'm like
thinking of all the possible lessons you could have gotten.
Well, I knew he was so good, and all the patterns he would show me. He would just like walk up to me and just that's like being.
Were you afraid that you wouldn't be able to do it in front of him?
No, I was just burnt. I was burnt. So like, we'd be like, there's a few times I remember him coming up and just showing me the craziest things I've ever seen, like acoustically on electric guitar, going like I can hear it go. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? And I just let him do it in front of me, and I'd make him. I'd be like, keep doing it. I'm gonna watch it while I'm drinking my beer, but like, I don't know what the fuck you're doing, and it's just next level stuff. I remember Steve Vai came out for his, like when we played with him, and I was like, all right, Steve Vai is out to see you play guitar right now. Okay, so you're a big deal. But I remember just he was just like super nice guy, fucking homie on the tour, was like he just wants to play all the time. Like he would show up to the venue, set up his rig, play backstage for 6 or 7 hours, and then go on stage for 30 minutes, 45 minutes for Animals, because Animals was opening for Decrepit at the time. And then he'd set everything back up in the backstage and then play for another 3 hours. And I'd be like, this guy is into it. Like this guy is like full bore into it. Like everyone's like, I felt like everyone was like 65% into it. He was like 111% into it. He was trying to play as long as he was standing and hanging out. He wasn't the one drinking and getting hammered. He was the one setting up his guitar, playing with the new Fractal that just came out, like dialing in tones constantly with him and Javier. And they were just sitting backstage and they were just jamming from the beginning of Summer Slaughter to the end of Summer Slaughter. And then the only time they weren't jamming was when they were on stage. And I was like, these guys are nuts. I was kind of like, at the time I was kind of going like, we're all tired and shit. And they were on the bus, I think, with Veil of Maya. I think Veil of Maya and them like split a bus or something. And so they didn't have to like do the driving parts. They just like were focusing on playing the whole time. Like,
yeah, that explains it.
Yeah, like Tosin would play like 7, 8 hours a day. Yeah,
but
I was
how
like,
could you not be that? If you play that music live, you have to be constantly, at least on tour, thinking about it, doing it, thinking about it, doing it.
Yeah. No, 100%. Let me get Jay fell off for a second.
Yeah. Sorry,
oh, good. No, but that's like just their commitment to it was something I'd never seen. It's kind of like you hear about it in sports, like, oh, this guy shows up before fucking practice and practices for 2 hours and like just practice, and then he practices after practice, and then they're really good. It's like he's like I always hear like Kobe Bryant did that, or like all these players that like were really like focused, that like had this like focus, and those guys just had it. And I at the time was like, you guys are in, like I was like making fun of them like in my head, not like they were showing me really cool stuff. You were hanging out the backstage, and they were just playing the whole time. So you got to see them just like animals, like Javier and Tosin just jamming the whole time. And now they're like humongous. So I'm like, I treasure that. But at the same time, I was like, you guys need to just chill out, dude. Let's hang out. Like, like it's a really trip to see, and show, look at the payoff. It's
there's
like
a Tiger, there's a Tiger Woods, there's a Michael Jordan, there's all these guys, and Tosin's that guy.
Yeah, 100%
for technical
same thing. Going
guitar playing.
Yeah, and then he already had plans probably to he had the weird built guitars and stuff back then that he showed me, and now he's like got his own guitar. Abasi is like humongous now, and they're all sold out. Like you can't even, if you want to spend $4,000 on one, like get on a waiting list to spend that.
Yeah.
Like he's crushing it, dude.
Or B Chris Beatty. He's endorsed.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah, awesome. I love that
Abasi on that Zenith tour right now,
and he's sponsored by Abasi, and seeing Tosin go like stoked on Beatty's playing, I'm like,
dude,
yeah, that's awesome.
That's so fucking sick.
Yeah,
real recognized real, dude.
100%. No, you have to recognize when you see Beatty play. You're like, all right, well, that's not allowed, but you're doing it.
Yeah, I got to play his Abasi a little bit when I was jamming with them in the Cynic jam room when I was like delivering the drum set that they used on tour.
Yeah,
and I was just like,
what was it like?
I played a Faceless riff in front of Derek. It was all sick.
It's funny you mentioned Faceless. I just sent because Michael Keenan has been, me and him going back. We always talk kind of messages and stuff.
Yeah,
and I got on this Faceless kick again. I haven't listened to Faceless in probably 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And
so
I listened to Autotheism all the way through, and I was like tearing up. I was like, this is so, I forgot about this. Like,
such a great album.
I know. And I like I just, as I pulled up, because I was driving through the mountains having these like feelings about it, I was like, dude, I was like, this is so sick. Like, what the fuck? I'm like mad that I haven't listened to it for so long.
Yeah.
And I just gave him a big paragraph about like, dude, we're good friends, and just like for me, can you like put something else? Like keep putting more stuff out, one more out. I asked him just one more. Just do one more album. That's all I need, because like that album, all their albums. Even I listened. It started with Akaldama, like listening to it for the first time in a long time. The no vocals song,
instrumental.
Yeah. And that song, like, I fucking love that song so much. And I randomly just came on a mix I was listening to, and I was like, oh yeah, the Faceless. Like, and I like went down the path again and was like, these guys, they melded all the things I loved at the time together, and just like, we're talking, 15 years ago or something. But then listening to it now, I'm like, it still stands up to anything. I think that shit
that's
stands
what's
up to anything.
Beautiful about art that you fall in love with, dude, because you have your fill of it, right? We play our albums out, then we have to take a break from them. So you throw it on the shelf, but you're actually plugging it back in, dude. It's charging back up.
Yeah.
You finally pull it off the charger again, and it's fully charged with that same energy that you want to get from that album. And that happens so frequently with certain albums. And it's funny that just once you listen to these certain albums, they get imprinted in you.
Yeah.
Memory is a crazy thing, dude. And
I got a response, by the way. I was like at 6 o'clock today.
Oh, what did Keen say?
He's all fuck yeah, I've been working on some new music. I'm getting back at it soon here. So I'm like,
nice, dude.
Nice.
You heard
what
it
does that
here
mean?
first, kids.
Under Faceless, or what are you doing? I'm just kidding.
Let him just make his shit, dude. Whatever happens, happens.
I just told him that I was like, dude, you got to. Like, listening to Autotheism, I listened to it all the way through today and was like, you gotta get back at that, dude. Like, it just, it's like you have a gift, dog. Like, please bless us. And we've had, just recently today, my wife's cousin, my aunt passed away.
Does that feel weird when you say that now? My wife?
And yeah, it does, because I want to say fiance, and now it's wife now. So it's like you have to adjust your vernacular. But and then like someone local, people are passing away around me, and I'm like thinking about like Michael's kind of like disappeared for a while, and I get like nervous, and I'm like, just put out some music, please put out music. I just got really like anxiety ridden, and I know he's been through a lot of struggles in life, and I'm like, you're a genius, please put out music. Anyways, that's my speech.
That's how I feel about
Planetary Duality. I gotta say, Planetary Duality was my gateway album into tech death.
Hell yeah!
Sure.
No, definitely.
That's a good gateway to go through.
Yeah.
And I remember he was like telling me when he handed it to me like before they had released it, and he's all, dude, I'm obsessed with Spawn of Possession. That's when he said. That's what he told me. Yeah, he's like, dude, I'm all about Spawn of Possession in this album. So like, but like, there's there's ins and outs to it. But yeah, there you can see the Spawn of Possession influence in Planetary Duality a lot. But anyways, I'm blabbing.
Yeah.
You can see that as Spawn of Possession influence in way more than just that album.
Yeah,
that band has found its way through all the nooks and crannies up until today. Still, such an influential band.
The theory and practice for a lot of bands.
So, what are your guys' favorite bands overall at this point in your life? We've already named a bunch, so I'm wondering if there's any we need to get to. Is still
Gorod. That's a big one.
Yeah.
Man. Beautiful, wonderful.
Hell yeah. Totally.
Even Zenith Passage.
Yeah. Martyr.
Martyr.
Oh my God. Hell yes.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Mongrain. Yeah.
A lot of Ron are on back actually. Yeah. Blotted Science, even a lot of his solo work.
Yeah. Blotted Science. Yeah.
What else? I think we can probably like spend time for maybe a couple of hours. We can just keep listing bands down.
Sure.
100%.
Ron Jabber's on records. Wow. His solo stuff is amazing.
Yeah.
Just solitarily thinking of something in confinement.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Wow, what an album. Oh my God.
Yeah. God.
Yeah. He literally is that guy. He is a mad scientist.
Yeah. The idea
I remember there's one track on Solitary Confinement that was the first time when a switch in my head went off where there's two guitars. What is that? The Battle of the Hands.
Yes.
Yeah, Battle of the Hands. There's just like on opposite sides of it, and I remember something in my brain went off like, oh wait, you can do that. Like that was like I remember.
But do you know? Funnily enough, that's played on one guitar beneath.
Yeah.
It's on one guitar. It sounds like. I mean, it's panned perfectly, it's panned beautifully, but it's like digga. It's on the same thing. It's wonderful. It's just incredible.
Yeah.
Why do you think we got him on Cryptic Implosion, dude?
Yeah, hell yes.
Yeah, that's the one thing with this podcast and Cryptic Implosion can prove is like just ask someone, just ask. Like,
just ask someone.
Like, yeah, he was like, yeah, sure, we'll do it. We're like, what? Like, like, he's gonna fucking do two solos.
And then how cool was it to have him come back on the show and say that was one of his favorite guest sessions that he ever did, dude?
I know.
Wow.
That's it's just full circle kid stuff for my childhood.
It's super Collapse of Recreation, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
No, that was dude. I can't
cried.
explain you.
I cried when he sent it back, dude.
Yeah, the first us hovered around in the living room listening to it and just going like, fuck, this is like I
couldn't hold it back, dude. I teared up
probably like 40 times in a row, probably like 40 or 50 times. We were like a whole party around listening to that solo.
We played it 40 times, and about 30 times then we realized that it was real.
Yeah. And you can just hear him, like guitar players and other I think guitar players mostly because they have the advantage of notes and all these little things that happen. But
Yeah.
personality really shines out of
100%.
characters like Ron and Dan.
Yeah.
You can just hear them anywhere and be like, okay, that is Dan Montgomery. I know that for
Yeah.
a fact. It's
Yeah.
not just the tone; it's the playing as well. His pre-bends and all the crazy stuff he does with his values and anyone, dudes like these have personality that shines through the music.
He's not even the best Jarzombek. Bobby's.
Bobby
the
Jar.
best.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Dude,
He's like
his,
the best in the
his
world.
Behind
instructional
the edge.
video,
Yeah. They're
which
both
has
insane.
2 unreleased Spastic Inc. songs because it's just Ron and Bobby. There's 2 songs on that instructional DVD
Yeah,
that
Purple
are
Cancer
totally
and
School.
School.
Spastic Inc. But they don't call it Spastic Inc. But it
Yeah.
is just Ron and Bobby, which is Spastic Inc.'s like the guys,
Yeah.
and you feel like you're listening to some B-side Spastic stuff that that wasn't on the albums, which god damn those brothers, to think to grow up in that household, right? How does
Bobby,
that happen?
Bobby started putting out stuff on YouTube again this year. Do you remember that?
No.
He did a version of Staying Alive, the like disco classic, but he spastic inktified it.
Oh yeah, dude, I remember seeing that.
Yeah, and he has a couple other videos from this year, which are
It was his birthday a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah, it was his birthday. Cool. So shout out to Jarzombex, dude.
Is it Jarzombek
Imagine
or
putting out-
Jarzombek?
That's always the classic conversation. I think it's
I've always said
Jarzombeck.
Jarzombeck.
I said
But
Jarzombeck.
sounds
I used
cool
to
too.
say Jarzenbeck, but I think he corrected us and said it's
Oh.
Jarzombeck.
I have to rewatch that. Make sure.
Yeah.
Love to have him back on, dude. I'd like to have a full Watchtower episode.
Yeah.
And it would be cool to like
Yeah,
set
they're
up
reunited.
a way to
Yep.
record bands coming into town, like through town, and just record like a few songs from them and just have
I
it like
keep
a Cali
getting-
Death thing.
I keep getting bummed because I see these like announcements for Watchtower playing these shows, but they're not leaving Texas, dude. Get out of Texas. Hit the coasts, dude. Like I think there's enough of us out here that it would be okay for Watchtower to do a little run around the United States. What do you
I have to
think?
say, like, my favorite crowds now that I've hit 40, I'm gonna say it again. Is the prog crowds, dude. Prog crowds are the like prog metal crowds. Like seeing like I just saw Beat, with King Crimson, and just like the chillest. Everyone's just like, yeah, dude, totally.
Yeah, but I
Blah,
could
blah.
see those guys being like, what's this Watchtower shit? I
don't know, that first set of Beat, dude,
much.
was pretty rough. They did 2 sets. There was the first set, and it was all dissonant shit. It was like, and it was just like all noise and shit. And you see people just going like people that have brought their wives and girlfriends.
They got their
were just like,
babysitters and shit. Like, fuck, dude, we're
They're just
paying
like,
the
what the fuck? And I'm like-
babysitter right now.
And quick story. My dad and my stepmom came, flew out to come see it. So they bought tickets like 6 months ago. They're like, we're gonna go see this. It's Danny Carey on drums, fucking Tony Levin, Steve Vai on guitar, fucking Adrian Belew.
Crazy.
Like we're gonna see this, and I'm like, all right, fuck yeah, those are amazing musicians. So loved it. I don't know what they're gonna play from the King Crimson's discography, but I'm down. Like that's like right up my wheelhouse. And they just started, and like they started just like the whole time. And I went to my dad's ear and I was like, hey, does she know what this music's all about? And he's all, no, dude. And I was like, you made a great mistake, dude.
You fucking trapped her, dude.
And then Nanette was like, I'm gonna go get a drink. Or Nanette and Osa were just like, I'm gonna go get a drink. And they just like left and never came.
Did Osa trip out too? She was
No,
like,
I
what the
mean,
fuck?
she was being supportive. I mean, obviously she wasn't. That's not her music at all. Like, you know, like
Yeah.
like who I was pissed at the initial set. I was like, all right, I forgot my earplugs. This is like fucking like noise, dude. And they're being funny. I understand the comedy behind it. It's like they're all smiling, like doing like super technical, weird, like only dissonant stuff, and like fucking all these effects on it. And it was their first show ever, by the way. That's their first show all together as one piece ever we got to see. And so they're like kind of experimenting and stuff. Second set was amazing. It was like fuck, and they were like, "All right, we get it. You guys have fun. We'll go just hang out by the fire. There's like a fire pit outside, just like, you know, wine and fire pit, whatever. Have a good, you know, time." And my dad and I will go, "We'll check it out. Second set, we'll check it out." And it was fucking amazing. It was like, they did hits like all their fucking, and they did like kind of a lot of they did so many cool songs. And I was like, why didn't you start out with this and then like end? Like I was like kind of like, but at the same time,
about ending with the weird dissonant ambient.
No, I know.
No, you got to do like the Grateful Dead. You do Dark Star going into fucking Morning Dew or whatever.
Smoke a joint first and then start having some beers.
It was really funny though. Just I was like, I could see my stepmom's like head just like moving around on my right, just like when they were playing the dissonant stuff, just like because she gets like really bad migraines too. And I was like, Dad, did you think this through before you brought like did she know this music? Like he's all not at all. I was like,
what if she turned to you and she was like, I fucking love this?
I would have been like, what? But no, just
my migraine is cured.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, migraine's gone forever. I was like getting a new style of migraine that I've never had before watching that beginning part because I had no like earplugs in. It was like, all right, you guys are fucking with sounds. It's like kind of noise right now for like 30 minutes. But you have, you know, Danny Carey shredding on drums, obviously, fucking one of the best drummers ever. And Steve Vai kind of stole the show, I'll say. Like Steve Vai towards the end, because it's not his style to play that like King Crimson-y style trippy stuff, and he took the role. And there's a couple solos he did that were in the vein of King Crimson, of like a Robert Fripp, that actually had the crowd standing up and applauding him. Like,
well, yeah, there's probably a small percentage of the crowd that just saw Steve Vai. Was part of this thing. They probably, I would bet that there's the person or two that went just because they're a Steve Vai super fan and never even heard of King Crimson.
It was mostly Tool fans.
Yeah.
When they all came out and like they all did like the what's up, they were like hello. They were like Adrian Belew came out and it's like golf clap, and then like Tony Levin came out like louder clap, and then like Steve Vai came out and was like yeah, and then fucking Danny Carey came out, it's like rah! You know, like it was like you could just tell what they're like right off the bat. It was like a bunch of Tool shirts and stuff, and I was like,
I mean, if you look at the population of the world, Tool's has more active or in the current living people's, you know, listening.
They wouldn't exist without King Crimson, nor would Primus.
I know. Isn't that crazy that King Crimson is one of those center points that kind of influenced so many different bands, but nobody who, and I shouldn't say nobody, but a lot of people who are become fans of those bands that are trickled down, they don't think of King Crimson.
Yeah,
because I had to find.
They're not quiet about it. They always say that we're with King Crimson. We're standing on the shoulders of giants. They always say that they toured with King Crimson, and it's like we're standing on the shoulders of giants over here. You know, for them touring with them, and you could tell Primus. They had a lot of songs. I was like, that sounds like Primus. Like and you like watch Les Claypool interviews like. King Crimson, we do like covers of full King Crimson albums for a reason, and like, you know, because it's basically like where they got their influence from.
So, I mean, King Crimson even gets sampled in a lot in hip hop songs and shit too. It's a thing that kind of spreads across everything. Then nobody really realizes that they're like at the roots of so many different things that they love.
Yeah.
But then you go back to King Crimson with those people, and they're like, "What the fuck is this?" And it's just like, you don't understand.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
No, it's one of those unfortunate bands we're very fortunate to know about, that paved the way for all the bands we're gonna know about.
Yeah.
It's like they started the style.
Even their 80s stuff is still good, dude.
Oh,
Like
dude.
Yeah.
3 of a Perfect Pair, that album.
Oh yeah.
Love
Oh
it.
yeah.
There's so many brilliant parts of that record.
Do you guys listen to prog much? Do you guys go in deep into prog out? Yeah.
I mean, yeah, definitely. Like, I don't know a lot of prog, but like significant amount of King Crimson and a little bit of Yes, some Genesis. I remember I came across this BBC documentary which was just about the prog scene in the UK in the 1970s, and some bizarre bands that came out around that time. And particularly King Crimson because it's very close to metal. There are like, especially if you go to this album, The Power to Believe and Thrack, right? Like even Red, in fact. These are really heavy albums, right? It's just that you don't have those, 300 BPM blast beats in it, but just the way the riffs are, there's counterpointed guitars, and this is being done sometime in the 70s, 80s, and in such a indulgent manner, right? I think that's the right
100%.
word to use it. It's fabulous, like what music, and even the use of effects, right? Like just using, these bass drops and all that you hear so commonly in music today, and then it's in the middle of this sort of breakdown where you just hear this pounding sound of the drum along with this explosion that comes in with these lovely guitars, and Tony Levin using the, I don't know what that thing's called, that the Chapman stick, right? Like it's what strange instruments. I remember watching one with Adrian Belew, Robert Fripp. I forgot who the drummer in that particular duo was. I think it's there somewhere on YouTube. And they start the set with Adrian Belew and the drummer at the time playing xylophones, right? And they just create this complex sort of an atmosphere around it, which is not xylophones, right? Like it's just like this weird sound.
Totally
fascinating band.
Since we mentioned Chapman Stick real quick, I just got to give a shout out to Kenji from Ontogeny, also from Narcotic Wasteland. He just announced his endorsement from Chapman Stick. Yeah, dude.
Oh yeah.
And if you don't know, you need to check out that dude because he's a very talented stick player.
That I might have come in late or something, but for me, one of the best shows I saw last year was Shakti, and I've seen them twice. By the way, I've seen them, John McLaughlin, Zakir Hussain, and I don't know, dude. There's some, and the time signatures on there. I I understand it a little bit more now, but they're all on this time signature that I'm trying to figure out. And they're like doing the and they're all like in this, like I'm like trying to figure out like when this is gonna happen, and I'm like trying to figure out, and it's like I was completely like, what the fuck? And they will all be like soloing, doing their own free solos, and they'll be like, and they'll be like, bam, like change over to the next one. I'm like, I'm counting, but I have no
4
idea.
decades of counting in a different way with music, dude. Over there,
it's almost Fibonacci sequence kind of stuff, right? It's like different
natural elements. I think that's the name. That album changed my look at world music.
Because they won a bunch of Grammys. They won a bunch of Grammys last year or this year, last year too. After that tour, I was like, seeing Zakir holding Grammys from America up, I was like, fuck yeah, dude. I was so excited. I was like, that was fucking amazing, dude.
It was one of those, again, beating it to death. It was one of those software upgrades for me.
Was that Jay?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. King Crimson, they've been around for what, 50 odd years?
Yeah. There was a 50th tour.
And throughout their span, they've always been of some other time period. They don't belong in any time that they are in.
True.
They always. I mean, just to say that ahead of the curve is not justifying it. Isn't?
Yeah, they are the curve.
It's something else. It's
yeah,
something
they
completely
created the
different.
curve. They
Yeah.
create they're insane. I don't understand. I mean, with John McLaughlin and stuff, like shredding over it too, to kind of bring it to the Western side of things, and like it was one of the best.
Well, Jay's talking about King Crimson right now. You're talking about Shakti still.
Yeah.
Well, Shakti is sick, dude.
but both examples are it's
very
an
similar
version of that. It's
100%.
Yeah.
And John McLaughlin coming back to not understanding, but coming into South Indian
Carnatic music.
What is it? The tablas, the percussion that happens in that. That's where the serious technicality for me happens. The use of the hands as a percussive, and giving all the sounds out of a few little things with your fingers, dude. It blows my mind watching.
Dude,
play it.
So okay, Indians have two things completely you guys have two fucking huge advantages: microtones and tablas. Like if you can incorporate that somehow into like extreme music, those are the most extreme instruments I've seen outside of Western culture, where I'm like watching I've seen Zakir play a couple times, but like watching him, like I'm like, that's like death metal. Like I'm sitting there just watching him, like that's death metal, and he's playing.
Yeah, you got a point.
No,
but
totally.
Sound wise, it just doesn't fit, man. Like
have Zakir be your snare, dude. Just like
yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, the speed wise, it's like almost 64th notes. I mean,
totally.
They're going to some insane stuff, but
beat
wise and the sound of the percussion, like it's meant for a whole different. It's a more chill vibe, even though it's at a higher speed.
Yeah, totally.
Absolutely.
There's nobody cheating with doubles over there, dude. You can't cheat with your fucking
there's no quantizing fucking Zakir's fucking hands.
Yeah.
Well, fuck yeah.
But that's what I think, to integrate, a lot of that Indian classical sound into metal in particular. I think you'll have to, sort of create a specific, like a Planet Caravan version of things to, sort of make sense of it, right? Like in a metal sense, or you go what Blood Incantation is doing. They're just putting out these ambient albums with Time Wave Zero and all, right? So I think maybe something like that, but because it's bizarre. I think there's one, the closest I've heard a tabla integrated into something that sounds like metal is on one of those Tool songs where Danny Carey has that sample of a tabla, right, where he ends up triggering it and on it, and that's the closest, and even that is like this chill part.
Sepultura, Sepultura, back in the day had like Brazilian instruments in their music, and they kind of made that work, and that's
it's like that tribal percussion that,
and everyone kind of understood, was like, all right, this is from a different culture, but it like works in this music. You have to make it work in the music, but they did it magnificently. I would say Sepultura kind of like, every time I hear like that long bow, looks like a bow and arrow, they like hit it with a stick. And it's
that's a very watered down version compared to John McLaughlin and Shakti.
That's a very different thing.
Collaborating. If you're gonna collide two different things, they went full in. Sepultura made it accessible.
So you're saying hitting a tabla, just go like burn with a tabla, like super simple. Just like
do a Pantera fucking cover on a tabla, dude.
Zakir, so bam.
The thing is, I think every attempt to have a fusion of heavy music and Indian instruments has been pretty disingenuous. It's because actually they're at polar opposites, sonically and pacing wise, and what Hindustani classical music aims at. Their objectives are very different from our objectives. And every attempt I've heard has been like just as a marketing tool, as opposed to actually trying to fit it properly.
You mean
Maybe
Bloodywood?
I've heard of Gordian Knot. Gordian Knot is a proggy band. I mean, of course, you all know. But they're incorporated really well. It fits that music. It fits that pace. It fits that sonic pace as well.
Have you guys heard, real quick, sorry to cut you off, but have you heard Sean Reinert's solo album, Cortland?
No, I haven't.
Please check it out, because it is basically pre-Gordian Knot, which would become Gordian Knot. So if you like Gordian Knot, there actually is technically a third album that happened before the two.
Wonderful.
And it's under I should said Sean Reinert. Sorry, it's Sean Malone. I fucked up. Right. Sean Malone, his solo record, Cortland. There's a D and a T at the end.
Okay.
Definitely but that is I think maybe even one or two of those songs were like demo versions of songs on the first Gordian Knot record.
Yeah,
I think it's the self-titled, or yeah,
it's the Michael Jordan Knot of the
Michael Jordan Knot, dude.
That's awesome. Fuck yeah, guys.
Well, every time I've heard like a tabla on it makes me cringe. Honestly.
Okay, so that's why.
When it comes to metal.
You know what makes me cringe in America? You want to know what makes me cringe in America? Is that people still call Native Americans Indians.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about that? I'm like, dude, they're not
weird,
Indians, dude.
Columbus is a dumbass.
There was a stand-up comic, was one of my favorite comics. He was like, was like, why do we still? He's like, so Columbus gets to America. They go like, you guys are Indians. This is India, right? You guys, these are Indians, right? They're like, no, we're not Indians. This is a completely different place. Like, Louis C.K. He's like, you're not Indians. He's like, you're Indians forever.
Exactly.
Like what
Fuck,
the fuck,
dude?
And there's still people, and that my mom is. I might have a lot of Native American in me, and my mom was like doing a lot of the Native American.
Oh yeah,
things.
we learned a lot, right?
Yeah, and they now they've come along. Like the Native Americans they call themselves American Indians now. And I'm like, you guys just.
No,
you guys lazied out and didn't fucking just stick to the plan. You're not Indians. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I think they've given up. They're like, fine, okay, let's have best of both worlds. We're American Indians there.
Yeah, whatever. You guys will call us Indians.
Yeah.
There was a baseball team called the Indians.
Because there's it rippled through time so much that still even young kids say Indians, and because of their stupid parents.
I can't. That's like the only thing. I'm not like a person that like Karen people over like certain words they say or whatever. But when you say Indians, that just is like not geologically correct, and I kind of go like, I don't want to correct them, but I know that they're dumb. I'm just
or at least just didn't go further in that direction of information.
It's like, you know how far India is from here? Like. This is not like we're still hanging on to this. Anyways, I just my mom and the whole Native American culture, whenever they say it, she even said they could say American Indians now, and I was like, you pussies.
You use the term native. It's native Indians, they say.
Yeah.
Fine. Native Americans would still make a lot more sense.
It still makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
You're native to America.
Yeah,
I know. Anyways, I need to get that off my chest. Thank you guys for indulging me on that. I really appreciate that. It pisses me off a lot. Well, fuck yeah, guys. We're getting pretty late over here.
We're I got work
pushing midnight over here. But thank you guys so much for coming on. That was so much fun. I had so much fun with you guys. That was awesome. That was a lot of fun. And where can we one more time, where can we get your guys' music? Where can people go listen?
gaijindeaths.bandcamp.com.
Nice.
So,
and Spotify,
there it is.
And YouTube.
JIN death.com.
Yeah.
And
Good
and
shit,
I
dude.
just want to say that over here at Cali Death Podcast, we're always about death metal. We're always about refreshing bands and also just reaching out across the world. And India's not a spot that we hit yet, so you guys are our first.
Yeah, Jay's got
band
a
from
strip
India.
Spawn of Possession fucking poster behind his fucking
I mean,
head.
it's
like my
kind of
favorite band in
cool.
the world.
There's so many cool things about this episode for me. One, you guys are sick.
Yeah,
I'm
awesome.
going to continue listening to your band after this. I'm not just in this to get another episode out or whatever.
Let's keep in touch too, by the way.
Exactly.
For sure.
But it also is a plus for us to be able to check another country off of the list to say that there is quality, technical, innovative, progressive music coming out that us as death metal fans would want to hear,
100%.
And now that India is checked off the list, I feel like we're still on the hunt for all the good shit, guys, throughout this world. And you guys are on that list now, guys.
It's
Thanks
been
for
an
having us
honor.
over. It's been an absolute
Oh
honor.
yeah, man. Well, fuck yeah. Let's
Thanks
keep in
for-
touch.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, hit us. I'll try to. I'm gonna try to
keep
follow
in
me
touch.
on social media. But I actually really, I went into my wife and I went to go pee in the middle of this, and I was like, these guys are fucking sick. I love their just the way they're into it, and it reminds me of just like, I don't know, you guys are just fucking rad, and we love you guys, and we want to keep in touch with you guys.
Thanks, man. Thanks so
Yeah.
much for
No
having
doubt,
us.
dude.
Oh yeah.
All your bands are
Fuck yeah.
amazing. You guys are amazing musicians and even better dude. So thanks for
Thank you
having
very
us.
much, dude. We appreciate that a lot.
problem.
We love you guys. Keep it up. Keep
Rock
fucking
on.
jamming.
All right.
Keep doing your stuff, and Anthony, keep doing the ads.
No, I was about to do it real quick, dude. We never said Battle Forge Coffee in the beginning. Joseph's on it, dude.
That
He
was Joel.
knows that we missed that.
That
Oh,
was
Joel.
Joel.
Oh, either way, my resident
Joel's even
homies
more
are
on
it, dude. You guys are on it so much. If I didn't have you, I don't know what the fuck I would do in these ad areas. But dude, battleforgecoffee.com is where we want you to go buy your coffee, because coffee is great. Coffee is good. Coffee literally is so much part of my day. What is this? This time next week, Anthony and me are gonna be partying. What a Guttural Reef. I'm gonna see you next week, dude. Fuck yeah, dude. I'm flying out Wednesday to get
Tell
to,
Anthony, make Anthony super nervous. Be like, you bet. Walk up to him and be like, you better not fuck up, dude.
Joel just wants you to make me feel his anxiety, and I don't want that to happen. So don't let that creep into the internet. Let Joel feel all that anxiety on his own. Don't let it come through the microphone or headphones
Seriously.
or nothing, dude.
No, just
Keep
don't
that
worry
to
about
yourself,
it, dude.
dude.
Just don't worry about it.
Anxiety, performance anxiety is a part of being a performer, but it's not for most people the like overriding thing that we deal with. It's just like,
oh, so you're dealing for the majority. You're speaking for the majority. That's right. What about
no,
the
he's speaking to me. Actually, Joseph, I feel like Joseph's speaking to me. He's my devil's advocate to your fucking negativity.
I thought it was funny to make you nervous, but I guess it's a fucking sore spot.
Why you want to make me nervous, dude?
Because it's funny.
Actually, I'm excited because I'm gonna be flying over with Ivan. Dude, I haven't seen Ivan for years, dude.
You gave away the secret on your guys' Severed Savior post just now.
But no matter what's gonna happen during my traveling, I'm gonna be stuck with Ivan. So no matter what, I got a little like anchor. I got a little chupacabra anchor, and then I get to meet all the homies that I'm going to meet out there, people that have been on the show that I'm going to meet physically for the first time, old homies. Like, dude, there's so much positivity. It's making me have a hard time get too anxious about the show.
No, you can't. You can't. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, you're gonna have so much fun. Just fucking, you're gonna crush it. It's not gonna be a thing.
All right.
You are though. You are.
Let's wrap it.
All right, guys. All right. Love you guys. I have to find the clicky thing. All right. Have a good night, guys. or good morning.
Good
Have
night.
a good morning, you guys.
Off to work. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
All right, see you guys. Have a good night.
Yeah.
Morning.
See you.